I awakened an SSS-level lightning power that can evolve. Millions followed internet celebrities are not only throwing themselves at me, even the treasured daughter of a prestigious family in the neighboring province is willing to marry me? No one could have ever imagined. Before the college entrance exams, I was merely a failure with a level 1 talent, ridiculed by both my classmates and teachers. Even my cousin, who grew up with me, became distant and indifferent toward me, simply because my superpower is level 1 weak electricity. The lightning I summon with my ability is barely as thin as a thread. It's even a struggle to charge a phone with it. The teacher gave me a look full of disdain, telling me not to take the college entrance exam. Every year during college entrance exams, the ones who usually get eliminated are typically trainees ranked below ability level D, let alone someone like me, ranked at the very lowest level. I ignored the teacher's advice, insisted on participating. Just when I was at a loss, a notification sounded in my mind, Deep Blue system activating. Due to my parents' early passing caused by damp conditions, the house was left with just me, all by myself. As the system in my mind activated, the once clear sky outside turned dark and gloomy. Clouds gathered thickly, and bursts of thunder could be heard from time to time. Purple lightning bolts erupted one after another. Such a phenomenon terrified the entire population of Jeong City. Around my body at home, dense electric sparks and lightning began to appear. A wave of oppressive energy surged forth, accompanied by ear-piercing thunder. It started spreading outward from me as the center. Furniture that came into contact with the lightning turned to ash. At this moment, my superpower fully awakened. A purple bolt of lightning struck down from the sky. It surged into me like a ferocious flood. At that very moment, I devoured it like someone starving to death, absorbing all the surrounding thunder completely, accompanied by my furious roar. The transformation was utterly completed. It was not just a transformation of abilities. It also marked a turning point in my life. I calmed down from the surge of joy, looking at the purple lightning coiled around my body. Opened the system to take a look. It startled me instantly. I realized I awakened powers from Eastern mythology, one of the top 10 primordial lightning sources of ancient times. The S-rank purple heaven divine thunder. Turned around to check. Not a single part of the house was intact. It looked as if it had been bombarded. Fortunately, I held back at the last moment. Otherwise, the entire building might have collapsed from the shock. Then I grabbed my long spear, deciding to head to the Thunder Martial Arts gym for a test, to see how much my strength had improved. Tomorrow is the day of the college entrance exam. I must fully understand my special abilities. Right after that, I arrived at the Thunder Martial Arts gym. But I unexpectedly noticed a familiar figure. I walked over and greeted them. The tall girl in front of me turned out to be my cousin, since I lost both my parents at a young age. My aunt, who also lives in Jiangcheng, often takes care of me in her daily life. Day after day, we quickly became familiar with each other. However, after my cousin Tang Chi awakened her Class B ability, while I only awakened a Class E ability, the connection between us gradually faded. Tang Chi was visibly taken aback for a moment. Then she turned her head slightly and nodded, saying she came with a friend. After exchanging a few words, I tactfully excused myself and left. After all, she felt that I might no longer belong to the same world. As I prepared to leave, the girl nearby curiously asked who I was. When she found out I was Tang Chi's cousin, her face lit up with joy. She thought she might finally have a chance to find a partner. But one sentence from Tang Chi immediately shattered her interest. Xiaoya, my cousin here only awakened a level 1 ability. Even if Xiaoya cares a lot about looks, she wouldn't be interested at all. Meanwhile, on the other side, I am in a room about 20 square meters in size. Gripping a long spear, I thrust it fiercely toward the center of the circular target ahead, accompanied by a piercing crash. The circular target, made from memory metal, bent into an extremely exaggerated arc. At the same time, the nearby smart display popped up with a 321 card notification. My raw physical strength alone has doubled. With just a thought, the violet sky divine thunder struck down with a violent aura upon the citizens, directly denting the heart. Recovery has been delayed for quite some time. A notification popped up on the nearby smart screen. 3012 calories, just for reference. The average attack of a first-level ability user is only about 1000 calories. An attack strength of 3000 calories roughly matches the level of a mid-tier first-level ability user. But this still isn't the limit of what I can do. I took a deep breath. The obsidian spear was wrapped in the power of the violet heaven divine lightning. Lightning gale strike. The spear resembled a purple-black dragon. It thrust forward directly toward the heart. Lightning flashed in an instant. The center was pierced and melted completely. It could no longer be restored. Even the surrounding walls were riddled with cracks, resembling a spiderweb. These cracks spread throughout the entire wall. I turned my head to look at the smart display. As expected, it showed no data at all. A faint smile appeared on my face. Looks like tomorrow's college entrance exam is going to be interesting. After that, I stepped out of the training room. Tang Chi was probably drawn by the commotion here. I happened to run into Tang Chi at the corner. After greeting him, I headed straight home. Tang Chi quickly found my training room. When he saw the wall shattered like a spiderweb, his eyes instantly widened in disbelief. To unleash such an attack would likely require at least a second-tier ability user. It's at least at the peak of the first tier. Xiaoya looked utterly incredulous as she spoke. Even if it's at the peak of the first tier level, a person like this could never appear in Jiangcheng. A hint of suspicion flashed through Tang Chi's mind. He had just run into his cousin earlier. Could it be him? He's been hiding his true strength all along. But very quickly, this ridiculous thought was dismissed as Tang Chi came to his senses. A useless individual with first-level superpowers. I devoured the smart display. It still couldn't cause destruction comparable to that of a second-level superpower user. The next day, I suited up in a full set of gear and boarded the bus heading to the college entrance exam. Upon arriving at the exam venue, what came into view was a temporary stage set up on an open field, positioned behind the stage. It is an area enclosed by a barbed wire fence. Inside the area lies the ruins of a desolate small town. The shadowy figures of ferocious beasts can be faintly seen darting through. The growls and roars of the beasts can still be heard. This inevitably stirs up a sense of worry among the examinees. At that moment, a young man dressed in a light blue battlesuit appeared, holding a long blade in his hand. He declared that if one couldn't handle even these beasts, then getting into college would only be a stroke of luck. Just an overrated nobody. Will never amount to anything in the end. Several students turned their heads angrily, wanting to see who this arrogant guy is. But when they actually saw him, they were instantly speechless, too scared to make a sound. Such a scene piqued my curiosity. I asked the boy holding the long knife next to me. That guy was furious, pursed their lips and replied, "Who else could it be?" The top student from first high school, Chengfeng, saw Zhou Mingyang defeated. I was suddenly taken aback. So it was him. In past years, the top 10 scorers in Jiangcheng's college entrance exams were almost always students from first high school. Zhou Mingyang was one of the most outstanding students at first high school, possessed a Class B elemental ability, a wind-based ability called Gale Zero. Not only that, even his swordsmanship is highly skilled. This couldn't help but make the principals nod in satisfaction. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a military uniform walked forward. With just a quick glance, the students who had been whispering immediately fell silent. If we were to say, Zhou Mingyang's gaze merely carried an air of intimidation, then the officer's eyes were like those of a fierce beast, making people feel a chill of unease. I am the chief coordinator of this year's Jiangcheng 5-subject college entrance exam, Wang Haiyang. Before the exam begins, let me emphasize the key points once again. This year's 5-subject exam will start promptly at 9 a.m. It will conclude at 9 p.m. The exam location is the abandoned town behind me. The ruins are divided into the outer area, central area, and the core zone. The outer area. The central area contains peak-level non-ranked beasts and first-tier beasts. The core area is entirely occupied by Tier 1 or higher ferocious beasts. The innermost zone is dominated by Tier 2 ferocious beasts. The voice of Commander Wang Haiyang echoed across the open space. He did not use a microphone, yet his voice was remarkably clear, delivered into the ears of each student. If this were in the past, at most, I would only dare to stay on the outskirts, to take down ferocious beasts in the area. But now I am confident enough to venture into the core zone. Even the most central area is accessible. After Wang Haiyang finished his introduction, with a wave of his right hand, a large truck drove over from a distance. When the truck's cargo door opened, inside were several black tactical backpacks. Each candidate received a tactical backpack. There were 3 items inside the backpack. One of them was a smartwatch. It was used to track scores. Inside, there is also a map of a ruined small town. It helps to confirm your location. Another item is a compressed energy bar. Using it can quickly replenish physical strength. The last item is a safety sphere. Once activated, it creates a protective field around you. High voltage electricity that regular beasts can't penetrate. Of course, using the safety sphere also means the exam ends early. This indicates the high school entrance exam concludes immediately. The current time is 8:40. There are still over 20 minutes left before the start of the 5-subject college entrance exam. Many students have started chatting with each other. Is there any team missing a tank role? I have a D-level enhancement type ability. I can both take damage and deal it. I have a C-level mental type ability. It can partially disrupt the thoughts of ferocious beasts. Does any team need me? Our team is short on a high damage dealer. Anyone with a D-level or higher output type ability? You're welcome to join our team. The college entrance exam for the 5 subjects doesn't prohibit students from forming teams. Of course, the points earned by defeating fierce beasts as a team are distributed and calculated among all team members. As a result, most people still prefer to enter the exam site solo. At that moment, the class president of Class 5 approached with a smile on their face, reaching out their hand to offer an invitation. The girl standing before me was named Lin Qingyuan, the leader of Class 5, and also a kind and gentle young woman. But his teammate beside him was unhappy about it. My great aunt, you've got to learn to read the room. No one wants an extra burden on their team. I shook my head, politely declined, saying my goal is to become the national martial arts champion. Lin Qingyuan was about to continue persuading me, but stopped when he saw the determination in my eyes, let out a sigh, turned away in disappointment and walked off. Meanwhile, feeling a sense of admiration for Lin Qingyuan's simplicity and kindness. Before long, the time arrived. With Wang Haiyang's announcement, students swarmed into the exam hall like a plague of locusts. I grabbed a long spear and blended into the crowd, and jabbed the boy who mocked me right in the backside. A howl of pain followed. He clutched his rear in agony, with crimson eyes, searching for who did it. But I had already disappeared without a trace. At that moment, Wang Haiyang waved his hand. A large number of drones entered the scene, streaming the students' college entrance exams in real time, making it easier for the Education Bureau officials to observe, to discover if there were any promising talents. I carried a long spear in my hand, just as I opened my watch, and was about to check the map. What comes into view is Zhou Mingyang standing in first place. I quickly checked the map as the score showed 7 points. I headed straight toward the central area. Before long, a fierce beast about the size of a leopard suddenly appeared. Its blood-red eyes were locked onto me. At first glance, I recognized it as a nether cat. Before I could process the situation, the nether cat roared and charged straight at me. It came within 3 meters of me. He raised his sharp claw, aiming straight for my head. In the next moment, a black spear pierced through. It resembled a black dragon in its movement, pinning the shadow cat brother in midair. Suddenly, the sound of killing a non-ranked beast echoed in my ears. Shadow cat granted +3 ability points. I flicked my right hand, using the momentum to pull out the spear. This shadow cat had no understanding of weapons like spears. A completely self-destructive move. The shadow cat is known as a rookie killer. It might still have a chance to escape when encountering other fierce beasts, but when faced with extreme agility, a sprint speed of 17 meters per second, there's no time to even think about running. What a pity. This little cat foolishly chose to confront me head-on. It reminded me of the ability points gained from a kill. As long as I keep taking down fierce beasts, I can continue to grow stronger. I couldn't help but quicken my pace as I ventured deeper. Along the way, I kept eliminating ferocious beasts, relying solely on physical strength to crush everything in my path. Using S-level abilities on lower-tier beasts is a sheer waste. High-level abilities consume energy at an increasingly rapid rate. Taking the college entrance exam 12 hours early affected the later stages. My own efficiency was significantly reduced. The journey was filled with relentless battles, constantly fighting along the way. My shooting skills are improving as well. It feels like I'm on the verge of mastering the art of becoming one with the gun. Standing atop the corpse of a ferocious beast, checking the time reveals that more than 3 hours have passed. Along the way, I've taken down over 40 ferocious beasts. My ability points have now reached 213. Randomly pulling up the system panel. The ultimate level of gun mastery is awaiting an upgrade. I immediately click the plus sign next to the gun mastery. In an instant, I have mastered countless techniques related to marksmanship. The next moment, I thrust forward abruptly. In just 1 second, I struck 4 times with the spear. Relying solely on my skills, I can easily take down first-tier ferocious beasts. After the upgrade, my ability points are down to only 13. At this moment, I am at the edge of the outer area. It would take me roughly half an hour to reach the central region. I put away my spear and ran forward. Before long, I encountered Lin Qingyuan. Their squad consisted of 4 members. Shocking. By now, most D-level ability users have been eliminated. Let alone a useless first-level awakened, who should have been eliminated long ago. After chatting briefly, I said goodbye to Lin Qingyuan. Lin Qingyuan acted as he watched my back. At this moment, the team member interrupted. The captain came over to check. This unicorn rhino had just died not long ago. Everyone stared in shock at the amount of blood from the unicorn rhino. It was determined that it was caused by a spear. A bold idea emerged. Defeating a horned rhino solo at level 1. Keep in mind, it took Lin Qingyuan and 4 others to hunt a horned rhino. Lin Qingyuan was caught off guard. The weakling he wanted to recruit turned out to be hiding such terrifying strength. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Education Bureau, school leaders, and teachers were also analyzing and discussing the students on the rankings. Ranking first is Zhou Mingyang with a score of 412. Looking at the current leaderboard, 9 out of the top 10 are from First High School. This makes the principal of First High School extremely proud, because every year's college entrance exam results determine the resources allocated by the Education Bureau each year. Everyone reviewed the rankings of the top 50 students. All of them are from the typical advanced rocket class. But Chen Fanmeng, the homeroom teacher of a lower-ranked class, the other party had only awakened a level 1 ability. How could it possibly break into the top 50? It's a shame that the main screen above only shows the scores of the top 10 students. The thousands of small screens below are too blurry to make out. Chen Fan trying to locate my screen among them is simply impossible. Without the screen visible, I have no idea how I managed to score so high. The homeroom teacher, Chen Fan, looked as if he had caught the scent of catnip, but couldn't savor it, like a kitten unable to get its paws on it. The itch was unbearable. In the ruins of a small town, I finally made my way into the central area. Compared to the outer zones, the central area had more ferocious beasts that were even bloodthirstier. The air was filled with a sense of bloodlust and frenzy. A beast suddenly leaped out with a roar. It resembled a tiger, but it was much larger in size. Its fur was a mix of yellow and blue. The most striking feature is the blade-like bone on his forearm, sharp as a knife's edge. A first-tier beast arm blade. Compared to the lower-tier beasts I've encountered before, this beast's aura is clearly far more formidable. I felt a surge of battle spirit, marveling at my good fortune to encounter a first-tier beast right after entering. Then, dragging the obsidian spear, I launched into a charge, accompanied by the scraping sound of the spear dragging along the ground. Sparks flew everywhere. The blade-armed creature, inherently violent by nature, let out an angry hiss. Then its massive body came charging straight at me. Even if I ignored its gaping jaws and razor-sharp edges, its sheer size alone would be enough to leave most test-takers completely helpless. However, I felt no fear at all. There wasn't the slightest trace of panic in my eyes. I raised my obsidian spear and thrust it fiercely at the blade-armed tiger. My remarkable physique combined with exceptional marksmanship, facing a shot that seemed as swift as lightning. A faint sound like a soft puff was heard the moment it made contact with the wall tiger. The saber-toothed tiger had no time to react at all. A bull-sized hole instantly appeared in its abdomen. For ordinary creatures, a blow like this would have already rendered them incapable of moving. Yet the wall saber-toothed tiger only became even more ferocious, all without resorting to any supernatural abilities. I wasn't expecting this strike to take it down completely. The fight lasted less than a minute. I stepped on a first-tier beast strong enough to eliminate 99% of the candidates. The corpse of the blade tiger lay there. With the death of the blade tiger, the system notification sounded immediately after. Defeated a first-tier beast. Blade tiger, 1 head, ability points added over time. My eyes lit up with excitement. This way, it all comes together. I need to make the most of my time to eliminate the ferocious beasts and accumulate ability points without taking a moment's rest. Heading straight to the area where the roars of the beasts are the loudest, rushing forward at full speed. Based on the strength of the beasts, the ruined town is divided into 4 zones: the outer area, the middle area, the core area, and the innermost core zone. Most examinees only have the strength to operate within the outer area. Only a small number of test takers dare to venture into the central zone, the core area. Even the top-tier candidates from Jiangcheng have to think it over carefully. As for the innermost zone where second-tier beasts are located, no one in all of Jiangcheng is capable of reaching it. That's a place only the prodigies from provincial capitals dare to explore. With my S-grade Purple Sky Divine Thunder, I naturally have the ability to do so, but the limitation lies in the duration of my ability usage. I decided to stay in the central area for now, waiting until the last 2 hours before entering the core zone. I refrained from using any supernatural abilities, relying solely on my strong physique and advanced firearms to easily overpower and dominate the competition. Naturally, my ranking rose rapidly, which caught the attention of the Education Bureau's senior officials. When they learned I had awakened only a level 1 ability, they all expressed disbelief. Staring at the virtual projection ranked 9th, in his place stood a young man dressed entirely in black. He held a blood-stained spear in his hand. At his feet lay the corpses of several fierce beasts. Not far away, another beast trembled in fear. The beast was visibly shaking. The next moment, the young man made his move. He leapt forward with the ferocity of a wild predator. Before the beast could react, it was pierced through by his spear. The speed of this strike rivaled the power of wind-based abilities. It left the high-ranking observers astonished and overwhelmed. On the other side, a Tier 1 Shadow Cat was slain. 1 mutated ability point added to 9. The murderer in the central area of the ruined town. Far more than he had imagined. He had only just entered for a little over an hour, and had already taken down over 20 lower-tier Tier 1 killers, along with more than 10 peak-level non-tiered beasts. Meanwhile, the energy points accumulated on my system panel had already reached a total of 312 points. I activated my smartwatch. Check your own ranking. Ranked 9th with 607 points. Jiangcheng Second High School. As expected, I've made it into the top 10. A faint smile appeared on my face. I opened the data panel. Noticed that my level couldn't be upgraded yet. After thinking for a moment, I decided to allocate some points to the 2 core attributes. Base attributes have been enhanced. I immediately felt a surge of power throughout my body. My mind became clearer than ever before. The exhaustion accumulated from rushing and consecutive battles was completely wiped away in this moment. Even a first-tier mid-level ferocious beast in the core area could be effortlessly defeated by me without using any special abilities. I could easily take it down without relying on any powers. After that, I slung the spear over my back and carried it behind me. I sprinted swiftly toward the direction of the core area. His physique was enhanced and strengthened. His sprinting speed was even slightly faster than Zhou Mingyang, who had wind-based abilities. Just a bit quicker than Zhou Mingyang. Soon, I arrived at a fitness plaza. Here stood the Blade Wall. At a glance, it appeared to be a ferocious beast. It was undeniably a savage beast. Ordinary test takers would steer clear of such a pack of beasts. However, my cold, sharp eyes, distinctly black and white. It carried a blazing fighting spirit. This is exactly what I wanted. In the middle lay a beast. Its size was noticeably larger than the other blade-armed tigers. It was the king of blade-armed tigers. Its limbs were incredibly sturdy. The bone blades on its forelimbs were especially massive and razor-sharp. A mid-tier stage 1 blade-armed tiger. It appears to be the leader of this fierce beast pack. I grabbed the long spear and leaped onto the bus below. The moment I appeared, it immediately caught the attention of the blade-armed tigers in the square. Except for the blade-armed tiger king lying motionless in the center, the other 9 blade-armed tigers charged toward me. With a swift reverse grip, the obsidian spear was already firmly in my hand. I transformed into a black shadow, weaving through the tiger pack. Each time I struck with the spear, it aimed straight for the vital points. Every blade-armed tiger was either instantly neutralized or killed on the spot, suffering from a severe stab wound. In less than 2 minutes, every single blade tiger had fallen under his spear. Not even their abilities could force me to use mine. Looking at the lifeless blade tigers by my feet, I couldn't help but shake my head. The reason he dared to attack the Blade Tiger Beast Pack so boldly was because he had the Violet Sky Divine Lightning as backup. What a pity for this group of beasts. He didn't even have the strength to use his abilities. I glanced at the system panel afterward. Just this single wave alone earned him a total of 106 ability points. He wiped the blood off the spear. I slung it back over my shoulder, quickly heading to the next location. On the day of the college entrance exam, all high schools in Zhangcheng will organize their junior and sophomore students watching the live broadcast of the martial arts college entrance exam. On one hand, it helps these students realize the brutality and harshness of the martial arts college entrance exam. On the other hand, it also aims to familiarize students with the habits of ferocious beasts in advance. When I achieved 9th place and dashed toward the big screen, the entire faculty and students of second high school were thrilled, especially the moment when I took down the Shadow Cat with one shot, which left the students absolutely ecstatic. In fact, many people regard him as a benchmark and role model. Before long, I encountered a group of Blade Tigers again. When 5 Blade Tigers lunged at me, some girls were so frightened they covered their eyes. However, the imagined scene of being devoured by ferocious beasts did not occur. Instead, I swung the obsidian spear. With an unstoppable stance, I sent all 5 Blade Tigers flying. I transformed into a black phantom, holding the obsidian spear in my hand, darting through the midst of the 5 blade-armed tigers with lightning speed, relentlessly advancing and slaying. That black spear had turned an intense shade of red from being soaked in too much beast blood, becoming strikingly crimson. No one seemed uncomfortable about it. Instead, it made people exclaim with excitement. What an intense and thrilling display of violence. I love it. It's so much more exhilarating than watching the light and delicate breeze sword. Every shot hits its mark. Such a domineering shooting technique, especially while weaving through the chaos. That tall and slender figure standing out. Every time the gun is fired, it carries a unique sense of raw power. This power is not gruesome or gory. Instead, it's filled with an undeniable beauty. It stirs the blood of these 16 or 17-year-olds, brimming with youthful energy and passion. Their faces flush bright red with excitement. In just under an hour, my score surpassed Zhou Mingyang's, taking the lead as the top scorer. The time had reached 3 p.m. 6 hours later, the 5-subject college entrance exam would come to an end. At the heart of the desolate town, in a dilapidated neighborhood, more than a dozen fierce beasts were split into 2 groups, each treating the other as prey for their midday hunt and battling viciously. The 2 camps are represented by the unicorn rhinoceros and the blade saber tiger. If the numbers on both sides are equal, it would result in the unicorn rhinoceros completely overpowering the other side. But here, there are 8 blade saber tigers, while there are only 4 unicorn rhinoceroses. In terms of strength, the gap between the 2 sides is not significant. The blade saber tigers merely hold a slight advantage. Although both sides have been fighting for quite some time, there have been no fatalities among the beasts. Beasts are inherently violent by nature. Once the fight begins, it won't stop until every opponent is completely eliminated. But at that moment, one of the lizards sniffed the air and suddenly halted its charge. Lowering its body, it let out a threatening growl toward the entrance of the neighborhood. That single growl seemed to trigger a chain reaction, causing all the lizards and rhinoceros beetles present to instinctively cease their battle, then shifted direction with its head facing the doorway, with a menacing glare in its eyes, its body poised for a sudden charge. Under the watchful gaze of the ferocious beasts, a tall human youth slowly emerged. The young man was dressed in a black combat suit, wearing sturdy battle boots, with a lean and towering build, and eyes clear and full of spirit. His gaze was as sharp as that of a lone wolf. A thick, dark spear with a rugged appearance, casually slung over his shoulder. The blade of the spear glinted with a chilling light under the sunlight. 12 ferocious beasts. Satisfied, I gave a firm nod of approval. I firmly slapped the butt of the spear with my right hand. The obsidian spear immediately fell into my grasp. Just as I raised the spear and prepared to charge into the pack of beasts, I suddenly furrowed my brows. Stop in your tracks. I sense a gaze and turn to the right. There stands a dilapidated and old building. Come out, I've already noticed you. A young man carrying a long sword on his back, with delicate and refined features, stepped out from the shadows of the building. This person Turns out to be the one with a B-rank wind ability, the Wind Sword. Zhou Yang. High school exam candidates are strictly prohibited from attacking each other. If discovered, they will permanently lose their eligibility for the college entrance exam. Additionally, both of them are being tracked by drones overhead. There's no need to worry about Zhou Yang launching a surprise attack. So, I grabbed my gun and prepared to head toward the nearby group of ferocious beasts. Zhou Yang froze for a moment, quickly reaching out to stop me. What, are you trying to compete with me? His gaze suddenly turned dangerous, as if blaming me. For me, ferocious beasts signify more than just points. They also represent supernatural abilities. These ferocious beasts are not something I would give up to others. Meeting my gaze, Zhou Yang looked as if he were being stared down by a powerful beast king. Goosebumps rose all over his skin. What a terrifying aura. Zhou Yang quickly snapped out of it, and hurriedly said that each beast group, each one has a mid-tier first-level beast. He's worried I might not be able to handle it. Wants to team up with me. And now both sides of the ferocious beasts are injured. But they haven't lost their ferocious and aggressive state. Choosing this moment to act is basically a death wish. I politely declined. Then patted his shoulder before charging forward with his weapon. Zhou Yang had no choice but to give up. Since you're so confident, then let me see what you're truly capable of. Zhou Yang stood aside and began to observe the battle. If anything seems off, he would quickly join the fight. The black spear in my hand seemed like a phantom. Each time it struck, it claimed the life of a ferocious beast. In less than 3 minutes, all 12 beasts in the arena were defeated. Zhou Yang was utterly astonished. Just 2 hours ago, he didn't even know something like this existed. But then, the other party rose to prominence like a blazing comet. And just over 10 minutes ago, they even took his first-place position away. However, the other party achieved this feat using nothing but a black spear, effortlessly accomplishing what he couldn't even dare to imagine. Listening to a series of prompts echoing in my mind, I showed an expression of enjoyment. But once the martial arts exam is over, there won't be such a good opportunity, so I have to make the most of my time. After greeting Zhou Yang, I quickly left, silently grumbling a few words in my heart. Zhou Yang then resumed his journey of hunting beasts. He moved swiftly through the core area, searching for beasts he could handle and taking them down. Zhou Yang clearly noticed that there were significantly fewer fierce beasts on the road. He wandered around the core area for half a day. Yet, he still couldn't spot a single fierce beast. He activated his smart watch. With a buzzing sound, the ranking interface was projected into the air. First place, 3,435 points. Jiancheng Second High School. Second place, Zhou Yang. 1,103 points, Jiancheng First High School. Third place goes to Wu Hao. 945 points from Jiancheng No. 1 High School. Seeing that terrifying score ranked first, the always elegant Zhou Yang almost had his eyes pop out. No wonder he was so terrified of being beaten before. Turns out he had already anticipated this. Thinking back to that initial conversation with me, Zhou Yang couldn't help but feel like a stampede of 10,000 wild horses was running through his mind. A score of 3,435 is absolutely unbelievable. At the very least, it's among the top 10 in Jiangnan province. Outside the exam hall, the principal and teachers were already overjoyed beyond measure. A score of 3,435 is bound to rank in the top 10 of Jiangnan province. And this achievement is also the best in the history of Jiangcheng. Who would have thought that such a feat could be accomplished with just a single spear? Principal Zhao Yao of Second High School felt his entire body heat up with excitement. Overwhelmed with excitement. Do you realize what it means to be in the top 10 of Jiangnan province? That's among the top 10 ability users in the entire country. Even top universities would compete to recruit them. They are truly the cream of the crop. A prodigy born in the fields. Who would have thought our Jiangcheng could produce a student like this? But honestly, that's pretty wild. In just 3 to 4 short hours, they nearly wiped out all the fierce beasts in the core area. It seems like this is likely to become a battle in the future. This time in the core area, a total of 450 Tier 1 lower rank beasts were released, along with 40 Tier 1 mid-rank beasts, excluding those beasts that were killed in mutual fights, and the ones taken down by Zhou Yang and the other 3. I alone eliminated nearly half of the beasts in the entire core area, which accounts for roughly half of the total. And all of this happened within just 3 to 4 hours. This alone is enough to highlight the terrifying strength I possess. A specific spot in the heart of the ruined town. I walk along the road with a long rifle strapped to my back. This used to be a bustling city street. But now the concrete ground is cracked and fractured. Overgrown with wild weeds everywhere. The buildings and shops on both sides are in complete decay. However, I paid no attention to my surroundings. Instead, I focused on the system interface showing 2,413 ability points. This represents all I've gained since entering the core zone. And yet, even with that, the level still doesn't show a plus sign at the end. I've already taken down most of the ferocious beasts in the core area. To continue earning ability points, I must head to the innermost core region. However, there are tier 2 beasts there. Before going, I need to further enhance my strength. I selected the battle skill Lightning Gale Strike. The plus sign behind it reduced 300 ability points. It instantly upgraded the battle skill to an advanced level. Now I'm ready to confront that tier 2 beast. I feel more confident now. Skill allocation completed. I immediately headed to the central area. The central area could only be described as shockingly small. It was an entire residential complex. This complex was called Scenic Garden. Dozens of ferocious beasts were resting in the open space of the complex. There were shadow cats and iron-haired boars. There was even a unicorn rhinoceros. These beasts were naturally violent. Among different groups, consciousness perceives each other as prey. Different types of fierce beasts can coexist peacefully, forming a community. There must be one beast king that dominates all. And this beast king is a grizzly bear crouching in the deepest part of the clearing. This grizzly bear is massive in size, resembling a tank. Its eyes are blood-red and fierce. It feels as if it hides a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Merely residing there exudes a chilling and terrifying aura. At this moment, Zhou Mingyang and his group had already arrived nearby, leaping down from the rooftop of a building. When they spotted the grizzly bear resting below, everyone's expressions changed immediately. It turned out to be a bloodthirsty berserk bear. Zhou Mingyang's face turned grim. Among the different ferocious beasts, there is also a difference in strength. For example, even within the same first tier, a shadow cat could never defeat a unicorn rhinoceros. This is what we call racial suppression. And the bloodthirsty bear is also known as one of the rarest species among fierce beasts. Not to mention its terrifyingly exaggerated strength. Just looking at its body, tightly packed together, with thick fur all over, it's even tougher than first-grade alloy. Even missiles couldn't easily shatter it. Zhou Mingyang couldn't help but give a bitter smile. If it were any other ordinary second-tier beast, it might be able to hold out for a little while. But considering the strength of the bloodthirsty violent bear, that bear paw, as massive as a giant iron pan, would come crashing down. And everyone would be doomed. They wouldn't even stand a chance to resist. There's also another possibility. And that is we just entered the neighborhood. There was no need for the bloodthirsty violent bear to take action. They were instantly wiped out by the overwhelming swarm of high-level first-rank ferocious beasts. Which means, neither the second-rank bloodthirsty violent bear, nor the remaining high-level first-rank ferocious beasts, were beings he dared to provoke. Zhou Mingyang let out a sigh. The 5-subject college entrance exam was always about selecting the best of the best. The innermost core zone. It's equivalent to the final major question on a math exam. Being able to solve this problem is what truly defines a prodigy. He is a genius admired by everyone in Jiangcheng. But when placed in the context of the entire Jiangnan province, he doesn't even qualify to attempt the final question, let alone have anything significant to say about it. That guy worked tirelessly all this time, putting in every effort to score just over 3,000 points, yet it's still less than what can be earned by defeating this second-tier ferocious beast in front of him. Arriving with over 30 first-tier high-level fierce beasts was swift. What humanity needs are powerful individuals with outstanding combat capabilities. What's the point of killing countless worthless foes? The martial arts college entrance exam values fierce and capable warriors, rather than machines that only know how to slaughter low-tier beasts. Just like the blue planet today, even though fierce beasts run rampant, as long as the 9th-tier beast emperors among the beast tribes are all eliminated, the remaining fierce beasts will collapse on their own without the need for an attack. And if the beast emperor is not completely eliminated, no matter how many ordinary beasts are killed, it will be pointless. This is precisely the reason why The martial arts college entrance exam assigns such high scores to the fiercest beasts in the core area. Setting the scores this high serves a specific purpose. As long as a second-tier beast is taken down, it can instantly secure the dominating score in the arena. This is intentionally designed as a must-achieve target for those vying for the province's top scorer. But at this very moment, a dark figure swiftly dashed over from a distance. In just a matter of seconds, it had already arrived at the entrance of Jingseyuan community. Zhou Mingyang's gaze slightly sharpened. Even though he was on the rooftop of the 8th floor, thanks to the powerful abilities of an esper, he immediately noticed the figure below. I saw the open space in front of the community below. A young man was standing there. The young man had a tall and strong build. With a resolute face, his sharp eyes were as piercing as those of an eagle. One could only imagine how many battles this young man had endured. He was dressed in a black combat suit, yet most of it had been stained a deep, dark red. On his back, he carried a long black spear. The once sharp and pristine blade was now dented and uneven. An F-grade spear had been worn down to such a battered state in his hands. How many enemies had he defeated to bring it to this condition? It was no surprise. Sakuragi Hanamichi had appeared. The beasts below quickly became agitated. Over a dozen high-tier first-level beasts roared as they charged toward him. Why is he acting so recklessly? Zhou Mingyang frowned slightly. At this distance, even if he wanted to help, it would be too late. Watching the figure vanish into the herd of beasts, Zhou Mingyang found it hard to believe. The other person had risen to prominence, like a comet in just a few hours. And now, is it destined to fall like a shooting star once again? It was at that very moment. Zhou Mingyang suddenly felt his heart tighten. A deep and commanding voice echoed beside his ear. In the next instant, divine lightning struck. Amidst the chaotic and piercing sound of thunder, a streak of purple lightning exploded forcefully at the very center of the beast horde in view, unleashing a powerful shockwave. Any beast that came into contact with the shockwave, it felt as if they were hit by a heavy blow. Their entire bodies turned charred black. They were sent flying backward 4 or 5 meters. An open area was instantly cleared out. At the center of the clearing, that tall and slender figure stood firm, like a war god standing unwavering. Around his body, streams of purple lightning coiled and crackled, as if welcoming the descent of their king, continuously cheering with excitement. Staring at the figure in the center of the clearing, resembling the god of thunder, Zhou Mingyang was completely stunned. It took him quite a while to finally react. At the center of the clearing, with me as the focal point, the purple lightning extended over 3 meters outward. The thunder roared like thousands of birds chirping at once. The terrifying lightning seemed to turn the surrounding area into a lifeless zone. 3 meters away were ferocious beasts charred black by the electricity. Within a 3-meter radius, there was only a figure that exuded an aura of dominance. Its entire body was surrounded by crackling lightning, like that of a sovereign. As expected, relying solely on physical strength, handling so many first-tier high-grade beasts is still quite challenging. It proves to be a bit of a stretch. I raised my left hand, gazing in fascination at the purple electric arcs dancing at my fingertips. The power and level of supernatural abilities are closely tied to 2 fundamental attributes. Even though I am merely an awakener for now, but the 180 points of health and spirit significantly enhance the power of my purple sky divine thunder. Even against high-tier level 1 fierce beasts, it can deal substantial damage. This is why SGE is dominant and formidable. I looked ahead. The severe injuries and near-death state of over 10 fierce beasts have already drawn the attention of the Beast King's assistant here. The bloodthirsty violent bear rose upright from its resting position. A height of 5 meters combined with a width of over 3 meters. It's like a massive heavy-duty tank. Picture this in your mind. A gigantic tank rising upright. What kind of overwhelming presence would that bring? This was exactly the scene I was faced with. The rare and ferocious bloodthirsty violent bear. This year's 5-subject college entrance exam was truly challenging. In the summer season of Jiangnan, the sun sets a bit later than usual. The setting sun on the horizon cast its light upon the bloodthirsty bear. A long shadow stretched across the ground, because it was facing away from the light. I couldn't make out the features of the bloodthirsty bear clearly, but its blood-red eyes carried an overwhelming sense of intimidation. Under the influence of this aura, the previously cowering beasts, too afraid to approach, suddenly regained their ferocity as over 10 savage creatures became wild again. lowering their bodies to the ground, grinning with bared teeth, letting out a series of roars, growling deeply, given that. Then let's clear the area first. My gaze sharpened. The purple sky divine thunder, which was originally just lingering on the surface of my body, was directly channeled inward under my control. My body trembled violently. Then my once clear and spirited eyes became flooded with purple lightning. At the same time, an immense and overwhelming force surged through every part of his body, from his limbs to his core. A wild and unrestrained smile spread across his sharply defined face. Supernatural abilities are a natural power inherent to humans, used as effortlessly as moving one's arm. He pushed his physical body to an extraordinarily extreme level of enhancement. Furthermore, having lightning coursing through the body is an incredibly dangerous matter. A single careless move could damage the meridians. As a result, this state cannot be sustained for long. However, it's more than enough to deal with you ferocious beasts. The corners of my mouth lifted into a grin. In the next moment, lightning flickered. His figure vanished from where he stood. When he reappeared, he was already beside a high-ranking Tier 1 unicorn rhino, with a spear now firmly in his grip. Like a bolt of lightning, it traced a purple-black arc across the sky. Before the horned rhino could even react, a thin line of blood appeared across its neck. Then the massive head of the horned rhino smoothly dropped to the ground. Blood gushed out from its neck like a fountain. The headless body of the horned rhino collapsed heavily into the pool of blood. Witnessing the horned rhino being slain right in front of them, the bloodthirsty berserk bear could no longer hold back and let out a furious roar. It charged straight at me with full force. Despite its massive size, the bloodthirsty berserk bear moved with surprising speed. Its running pace was anything but slow, using all four limbs to propel itself forward. In the blink of an eye, it covered a distance of over 30 meters. However, my speed was even faster. With the power of the violet sky divine thunder enhancing me, he transformed into a streak of violet-black shadow, weaving effortlessly through the group of fierce beasts. Each time a strike is made, the obsidian spear, surrounded by purple lightning, can take the life of a ferocious beast. A series of notification sounds from the system echoed continuously in Su Jingming's mind. At the same time, there was the frenzied rage of the bloodthirsty bear, which erupted in a fit of powerless fury as it failed to catch its prey. On the rooftop, Zhou Mingyang was completely stunned. The sheer burst of supernatural energy alone left the first-tier high-rank beast critically wounded and on the brink of death. Thanks to the advanced development of the internet, it's not like I haven't encountered A-level lightning ability users before. However, even those high-level A-class lightning ability users didn't create the same sense of pressure as the overwhelming presence I feel right now, stronger than an A-level ability. Could it be that Zhou Mingyang and the bald guy exchanged glances? And astonishingly spoke in unison, S-level, then immediately shook their heads in denial. If he truly possesses S-class abilities, from the day his powers awakened, the entire Great Xia nation would be shaken. If S-class abilities really exist, the government would have already stepped in and sent him for elite training. How could he still be in Jiangcheng, where educational resources are so scarce? Could number 2 high school really be a place for nurturing abilities? The bald young man asked tentatively. Zhou Mingyang paused in thought for a moment, and then nodded slightly. It's certainly a possibility. While ability mutations are rare, they are not entirely unheard of. In the past, there have been cases where D-level abilities mutated into A-level abilities under unexpected circumstances. But no matter what happens, after today, the entire Jiang city will likely be shaken by him. Looking at the figure wielding a long spear downstairs, charging through the pack of fierce beasts and clearing the field with dominance, Zhou Mingyang's expression was incredibly complex. Countless purple lightning bolts surged wildly. Immediately after, I seemed to transform into the god of thunder. Electricity flickered in my eyes. Purple lightning danced across the surface of my body. Holding a long spear, I began slaying ferocious beasts in the horde. Meanwhile, the second-tier bloodthirsty violent bear chased after me. Yet, it could never land a hit. It could only watch helplessly as I reaped through the beast horde. The entire battle scene unfolded in just an instant. Pulled off an unbelievable comeback against all odds. Empowered by the divine purple sky thunder, I was leading the bloodthirsty violent bear around as if I were walking a dog. As for the remaining 21 ferocious beasts, they were all taken down in just under a minute. by me, with my cells activated to their peak state, one after another. With a flash of lightning, I held my spear firmly in my hand. My towering figure, shrouded in crackling thunder, suddenly appeared about 8 meters in front of the bloodthirsty violent bear. At this moment, the bloodthirsty berserk bear was clearly enraged to the extreme. Its nostrils flared as it exhaled heavily. The muscles on its chest were tightly knotted and bulging, rising and falling dramatically with each intense breath. Its pair of crimson eyes appeared colder than ever. Such a scene would likely terrify any weaker-willed ability user, possibly leaving them paralyzed on the spot. I extended my left hand into the void, appearing like a thunder god who rules over everything. The swirling purple sky divine thunder quickly gathered around. The purple lightning was hurled out by me with great force. A loud boom echoed. It struck the bloodthirsty berserk bear ahead with pinpoint accuracy. This terrifying thunder, powerful enough to instantly kill a high-tier first-order beast. Yet, it merely danced across the surface of the berserk bear's body. Aside from making its appearance even more ferocious, it seemed to have little to no effect. I narrowed my eyes slightly in focus. Though the purple sky divine thunder is potent, but after all, still just an awakened one, crossing over 2 major tiers. Trying to inflict damage on a tier 2 bloodthirsty bear is indeed somewhat difficult. It seems like finding a way to break its defense first is necessary. The bloodthirsty bear on the other side wasn't idle either. It let out a low growl. Its violent energy and blood surged, shockingly materializing around its body, looking almost like a super saiyan. The red energy surged upward like a rising current. His entire body suddenly expanded in size. The veins on his ferocious bear-like face bulged violently. The ground's loose rocks were affected by this immense energy. They even trembled slightly under the pressure. Then he forcefully pushed off with his legs, creating a deep crater in the ground beneath him. That towering, massive figure, like an iron tower, was astonishingly leaping straight toward me. My expression shifted drastically, quickly dodged to the side. The bloodthirsty bear charged like a comet, crashing down at the spot where I had just been standing. The ground cracked and dust flew, centering on the bloodthirsty bear. Debris scattered as the earth shattered. It went berserk right from the start. Clearly, it was eager to end me as quickly as possible, clicking its tongue in amazement, obviously enraged by my earlier taunting tactics. Yet, even so, I had no intention of directly confronting the bloodthirsty berserk bear. The best approach is still to rely on agility to fight. With a flash of lightning speed, I, holding a long spear in my hand, my figure became a blur and vanished from the ground. The bloodthirsty berserk bear instinctively sensed something was wrong. Before it could even react, it felt a sharp pain shoot through its leg. A streak of purple electric light could be seen, revealing a razor-sharp, gaping wound. Suddenly moved from the bloodthirsty bear's left leg to stand upright. Panting heavily, bright red blood gushed out like a fountain. Overwhelmed by pain, the massive fist of the bloodthirsty bear slammed down toward the tiny human. Compared to the bloodthirsty bear's towering 6-meter height, my mere 1.86-meter frame was clearly more agile. When compared to the purple heaven divine thunder, the sharp obsidian spear was clearly more effective. So I followed the same method. A swift slash with the spear left a long gash on the right leg of the bloodthirsty bear. The pain from the wounds on both legs drove the bloodthirsty bear into a frenzy. It began swinging its paws wildly, attacking indiscriminately. However, by then I had already moved to the side. A deafening rumble. The corpses of many fierce beasts on the ground were smashed into pulp. And it was at that moment I pushed the purple sky divine thunder to its very limit. Countless bolts of purple lightning burst forth from his body. They struck the bloodthirsty violent bear directly. Just like that, the purple sky divine thunder hammered down for about half a minute. The bloodthirsty violent bear's grayish-white fur was scorched completely black from the strikes. This should be enough. In a flash, I moved, appearing less than 10 feet in front of the bloodthirsty violent bear, a distance of 3 meters. For the bloodthirsty berserk bear, it would only take a small step forward to launch an attack. But just as it moved its legs, intending to unleash its fury on the insignificant human ahead, it was shocked to realize that its legs seemed to have vanished completely, and they refused to obey its command. What terrified it even more was that its arms felt unbearably heavy, no longer able to lift it. I hold a long spear in my hand. The 50-kilogram obsidian spear is being swung with force, the spearhead crackling with lightning strikes repeatedly. Gasping for breath, the spear transformed into a phantom. In just a matter of 3 or 4 seconds, it struck the bloodthirsty violent bear, leaving dozens of bull-sized wounds on its body, with countless flashes of lightning flickering inside the wounds, causing secondary harm. It was precisely at this moment the bloodthirsty violent bear suddenly realized that his arms had regained sensation, just as a sinister grin spread across his massive bare face, and he prepared to launch a counterattack. The human before him suddenly leaped into the air, reaching the same height as his chest, a pair of sharp, contrasting black and white eyes, radiating an unparalleled calmness. Meanwhile, a deep and commanding voice echoed nearby, "Lightning gale strike," accompanied by a rumbling thunder. On the black spear erupted a wave of thunderous energy that filled him with fear. He instinctively tried to raise his arms to block, but it was already too late. Then, with a resounding boom, the bloodthirsty bear, covered in wounds, faced with the heaviest blow yet. Violent purple lightning erupted from his chest. A tremendous force of impact sent him hurtling backward like a cannonball, on the ground, carving a trench over 10 meters long, before finally coming to a stop. His left chest was visibly struck, leaving behind a charred, gaping hole. Where his heart once was had completely vanished. Only the lingering traces of purple lightning remained swirling within. This creature, a terrifying killer powerful enough to destroy a small town. At this moment, it completely lost all signs of life. Listening to the notification sound coming from the system, eliminated 1 Tier 2 lower rank bloodthirsty violent bear, gained 24 ability points. I let out a sigh of relief as well. This battle pushed my current strength to its absolute limit, even though the battle lasted less than 2 minutes, with my health points reaching as high as 180. Even my mental state felt a bit overwhelmed. You could put it this way: the 2000 plus ability points displayed on the system panel, right from the beginning, had already sealed the fate of the bloodthirsty bear. I exited the cell activation state, and the divine purple lightning surrounding me also withdrew. Without the boost from the divine purple lightning, I suddenly felt a wave of weakness in my body. However, I knew this weakness was just an illusion caused by the fading of power. In reality, I had only returned to the strength I had before cellular activation, by eliminating all the fierce beasts in the core area. I had no idea how many points I had scored. I opened my smartwatch to check my score. First place, 10,835 points, from second high school. Second place, Zhou Mingyang with 1,103 points, from first high school. Third place goes to Wu Hao with 945 points. Jiancheng first high school. Over 10,000 points. Although I had a feeling about it, I was still shocked by this score. As expected, the scores from the fiercest beasts in the core area are indeed the highest. Last year, the highest score in Jiangnan province was only a little over 8,000 points, if I recall correctly. Doesn't that mean I've already secured the top spot in the province? Eliminating a Tier 1 high-level ferocious beast earns a score of 100 points. Defeating a Tier 2 beast awards 4,000 points. The core area contains a total of 34 Tier 1 high-level beasts, along with 1 Tier 2 lower-ranked bloodthirsty bear. All of them were taken down by me, accumulating a total of 7,400 points. Adding that to my original score of over 3,000 points, reaching a total of more than 10,000 points isn't surprising. However, when placed in the rankings, it's nearly 10 times the score of the second place. That makes it look extremely exaggerated. There's still over an hour to go. The 5-subject college entrance exam will finally come to an end. The beasts in the core and innermost areas have all been completely wiped out by me. Next, it's time to head back to the central region. Every additional beast I can eliminate counts for something. The nearly destroyed obsidian gun was then slung over my back, and I set off once again in the direction of the central region. At this moment, Zhou Mingyang and the others on the rooftop were still stunned by my performance. The bloodthirsty violent bear was killed just like that. Zhou Mingyang swallowed hard. From the start of the battle to the moment the bloodthirsty violent bear was taken down with a single strike, only 2 minutes had passed at most. Keep in mind that this kind of second-tier beast with incredible vitality would normally take even elite ability users over half an hour to bring down. It was absolutely terrifying. The bald guy's expression showed a shocked look as he stared at the score on the smartwatch. The score had already surpassed 10,000 points. Zhou Mingyang's eyes widened as he instinctively realized. I remember last year, our Jiangnan province's top scorer only managed to score a little over 8,000 points, right? This score of over 10,000. Could it be that he will become this year's top scorer in Jiangnan province? The people nearby immediately gasped in shock. The bald guy turned to look in the direction where he left. It seems like he went toward the central area. No wonder he's the top student in the province. He even managed to take down a second-tier fierce beast. And yet he still didn't let his guard down. He's even rushing toward the central area. The bald guy clicked his tongue in amazement. At this point, Zhou Mingyang snapped back to his senses. He slapped his thigh. Wait, I'm not sure if he's really the top student in the province. But I understand. If we don't hurry to the central area soon, we might not even score a single point in the last hour. Exactly, oh man. At the speed he's going, he might end up taking out all the killers in the central area. Let's move quickly. They immediately snapped back to attention. There was no time to overthink. They grabbed their weapons and hurried downstairs. In the open space outside the exam hall, a large number of principals and teachers, while being awed by the terrifying power of my supernatural abilities, were also nervously watching my actions. The second-tier bloodthirsty violent bear, even at the peak of their abilities as principals, was still a force they would avoid confronting head-on. And yet, this terrifying beast was now being toyed with as if it were nothing more than a plaything. Completely under control in the palm of my hand, effortlessly dodging the ferocious bear's attacks. 2 shots crippled the bloodthirsty bear's legs. Lightning strikes can continue relentlessly, rendering it paralyzed and completely immobile. The spear unleashed a frenzied assault, instantly leaving the bloodthirsty bear gravely wounded. The final strike infused with thunder, pierced through its heart to deliver the kill. This entire sequence of actions flowed seamlessly, smooth and precise in every motion. So much so that when the bloodthirsty berserk bear collapsed to the ground, the entire audience fell into a silence as still as death. Nobody could have imagined. Even the prodigies from the provincial capital would struggle to deal with a Tier 2 bloodthirsty berserker. And yet it met its end like this. Not until the rankings were updated, and my score reached 10,000 points, did the director, along with the principals and teachers, fully process what had happened. 10,000 points, just incredible. A new record has been set. A new milestone has just been achieved. At this moment, a teacher from second high school shouted excitedly, prompted by this voice. Only then did the principals and teachers in the audience react, and they erupted into an uproar of astonishment. The record for Jiangnan province has been broken. A genius, an absolute genius. Blessings to Jiangcheng. This year's top scorer in the province will undoubtedly come from our school. Well done. Principal Zhao Yao couldn't help but stand up, excitedly pumping his fist. Someone usually so composed. He had lost his composure more times than he could count. This score could be described as the worst among the provincial top scorer preliminaries. All of them ranked among the top 3 in Jiangnan province. It's worth noting that Jiangcheng No. 2 High School has a history of over 100 years, and its best performance had only ever reached Jiangnan province, at a ranking of 64th place. What previous principals failed to accomplish, he managed to achieve. How could he not feel thrilled? The glory faded away in just an hour. Before long, the time reached exactly 9 o'clock. The martial arts college entrance exam had come to an end. I pulled the spear out from the corpse of a fierce beast. It left me feeling a bit regretful. Unfortunately, there would never be another chance to so freely harvest ability points again. I carried the long rifle on my shoulder and stepped forward in the direction of returning. When the clock struck exactly 9 o'clock, the rankings for the martial arts college entrance exam were finalized. With a score nearly 10 times higher than the second place, I firmly secured the top position. As the martial arts college entrance exam came to an end, students began to gradually emerge from the ruins of the small town. Aside from discussing their experiences in the exam room, their conversations all revolved around me. Over 10,000 points. That's absolutely incredible. I was in the same class as Su Jingming. If someone said he only had a level 1 ability, would you believe it? Level 1 ability. Are you kidding me? E-level ability. Could it really suppress Zhou Mingyang's B-level ability by 10 times in scoring? Does that even sound possible? When the time comes, the entire Jiangcheng will gain fame because of that man. It is precisely for this reason. The excited director of education, Zhang Wenshan, along with principals and teachers from various schools, had already left their seats in the audience and stood by the exam site waiting for my arrival. The open space was filled with numerous excited and proud candidates, especially Lu Jie, who had always gotten along well with Su Jingming, was so pleased he seemed ready to wag his tail all the way to the sky. "Is this man really your cousin?" A student from the top high school, amidst the crowd. Originally, Xiaoya had lost interest in me at the Thunder Martial Arts Gym, but her beautiful eyes lit up as she asked Tang Qi. "You've already asked 3 times, my dear." Tang Qi rolled his eyes. "Although there's no absolute certainty, it's highly likely to be him." "All right then. I trust you." Xiaoya nodded slightly. Then she wrapped her arms around Tang Qi's arm and started swaying it playfully, almost like she was being coy. "My brother's best friend. Can you give me your cousin's contact information, please?" "Why are you asking for his contact now? Weren't you uninterested in it just yesterday?" Seeing Xiaoya's pleading expression, Tang Qi couldn't help but tease. Times have changed. Yesterday, he was just someone who had awakened a level 1 ability. Today, he is the most prominent figure in Jiangcheng. His status is different now. Naturally, the treatment he receives is also different. Hearing Xiaoya's matter-of-fact tone, Tang Qi was momentarily speechless. The change in expression happened way too quickly. Just as he was about to speak, a loud shout came from the man leaving the exam hall. Hearing that shout, the entire open space fell into a solemn silence, including Tang Qi and Xiaoya. Everyone instinctively turned their heads to look toward the ruins town exit. A tall figure emerging from the dimly lit ruins of the town. It was none other than me, dressed in a blood-stained black battlesuit, with a calm and steady expression. A black spear over 2 meters long was strapped to my back. This spear, battered to the brink of destruction, it seems to be telling the story of the journey taken along the way, the brutal intensity of the battles experienced. The top scholar of Jiangnan province is welcomed back. Standing nearby is Zhang Wenshan, the director of the Education Bureau. He was the first to take the lead and offered the most enthusiastic applause. Afterward, principals and teachers from various schools joined in one after another. However, compared to the warm reception from the director and the principals, the students' welcome was far more enthusiastic. As fellow candidates from the same year, if there's only a difference of a couple hundred points, they might still feel unsatisfied, thinking their skills are not too far apart. But a gap of over 10,000 points is already a complete and undeniable domination. As a result, the candidates didn't hold back in cheering and applauding. Some of the bolder girls even began to express themselves openly on the spot. From behind them, not far away, Zhou Mingyang, who had just walked out of the exam hall as well, looked at the scene with a hint of envy. However, he also understood that even if he ranked first, he would not be able to receive such enthusiastic cheers. After all, he couldn't possibly achieve over 10,000. The cheers lasted for more than a full minute, before gradually fading away. Meanwhile, Wang Haiyang began organizing the retreat arrangements. As for me, I was directly assigned by the principal. Got into the special car heading home. The principal began to speak. "Have you decided which supernatural ability school you want to attend?" I sat in the back seat of the car. Driving the car was Zhao Yao, the principal of Jiangcheng Second High School. Normally, the principal has a designated driver when going out, but this time, he personally took the wheel, and even had a cheerful expression. There wasn't the slightest hint of displeasure. "With your academic performance, you can get into any university across the country, including the top 3 elite ability colleges." Principal Zhao Yao seemed even more excited than I was. The martial arts culture thrives in the Great Xiao Nation. Not only is the martial arts college entrance exam broadcast live, even thousands of ability colleges nationwide organize college tournaments every year to determine the rankings of each institution. Among these thousands of ability colleges, 3 colleges consistently dominate the top 3 spots in the tournaments. These include Qingqing University of Arts and Sciences, Modi University of Arts and Sciences, and Jincheng University of Arts and Sciences. These 3 institutions all have a history of over 200 years since their establishment. They boast abundant educational resources. Every faculty member on campus is at least a 6th-level ability user. These 3 universities stand above thousands of other institutions nationwide. They are also known as the 3 top-tier universities. They are the dream destinations for countless students aspiring for higher education. A true sanctuary for countless dedicated learners. The ultimate goal that one dreams of. The principal spoke with a tone full of emotion. But for you, it's something easily within reach. They might even beg you to join them. Begging me to join them. I tilted my head slightly, looking puzzled. With your grades, you already qualify for a special admission. Once the national rankings are announced, the top 10 universities in the country will offer all kinds of incentives. They want you to enroll in their school. If this isn't them begging you to join, then what is it? The principal just laughed heartily as usual. Special admissions are only offered to the top 3 students in the entire province. And I am clearly among them. I suggest that when you return, you take some time to learn more about the top 3 prestigious universities. Of course, getting into any of these top 3 schools will guarantee a bright future. I nodded to show that I understood. By the time I got home, it was already late at night. The next morning, I checked my ability points. 2,534 ability points. When it's time to enter the Ability University. This should last me for a while. I wonder if joining Ability University, will there be similar competitions for hunting fierce beasts? If there are, I'll definitely be the first to sign up. After humming a little tune and finishing my shower, I returned to my bedroom. I turned on my computer, researching information about the top 3 elite universities. The top 3 elite universities have been established for more than a few centuries. These are prestigious schools with incredibly long histories. They have cultivated numerous outstanding talents for Daxia. While going through the information, I couldn't help but be amazed time and again. Today's 9th-tier national guardians. It turns out they graduated from Qingjing University of Supernatural Abilities. The top-tier supernatural training methods are surprisingly exclusive to these elite universities. You never realize it until you look into it. Once you investigate, it's truly surprising. Nowadays, some of the most renowned advanced ability users nationwide actually account for nearly half. And they all come from the top 3 elite universities. When you add up all the schools, both domestic and international, the total number of strong individuals they've produced is shockingly on par with that of the top 3 elite universities. This clearly demonstrates the profound foundation of these universities. Additionally, the most crucial point is this. The training of supernatural abilities serves as the foundation for advancement among ability users. There are distinctions in the quality of different supernatural ability training methods. The speed of progress can vary dramatically. For instance, using the most basic and inferior supernatural ability training method for cultivation, most awakened individuals take 3 to 4 years to reach the level of an ability user. However, if one trains using a top-tier supernatural ability method, it takes less than half a year to advance. Based on the information I found, most of the top-tier ability training methods in the Daxia Nation are surprisingly stored in the libraries of the 3 elite universities. No wonder there are rumors online that the 3 elite universities are exclusive and self-serving in teaching methods and refuse to make their training manuals public. It suddenly became clear to me, but I didn't think much of it. Top-tier ability training methods are incredibly valuable, and trying to pressure universities with public opinion is futile. Thus, sharing top-tier techniques. No matter how you think about it, this seems highly unlikely. 9 p.m. on June 11th. Admissions Office of the Superpower University in Magic City. Rarely seen 3rd and 4th tier superpowered individuals. Yet the entire office was filled with people at this moment. These superpowered individuals looked somewhat anxious, as if they were waiting for something. Not long after, a middle-aged man, slightly on the heavier side, walked in briskly, holding up a mechanical brand in hand. The national rankings for the 5 subjects have been released. Everyone, get ready. As per tradition, let's first take a look at each province's top scorer performance. The 1st Provincial Administrative Region. Zhou, 1st place in Qingxi City. Qingxi High School. 9,343 points is shown on the screen. This is precisely the battle scene of Zhou in the 5-subject college entrance examination. Zhou awakened at the age of 18. A level 1 ability of the enhancement type. A bronze body. Level 1, upper tier. On the central holographic projection, while Zhou's battle scenes were being displayed, his related information was also resonating in the ears of every admissions officer. The bronze body is considered decent among level 1 abilities. The battle scenes are indeed captivating. The use of supernatural abilities is quite impressive as well. The middle-aged man ahead spoke in a deep voice. Joey was assigned a special recruitment quota as an A-plus candidate. Mr. Wang Jian, it would be helpful if you could make a trip. Once the meeting concludes, he will depart immediately for Qingjing City. Jiangnan Province is one of the most populous regions in Daxia. In previous years, the top student in the province has always demonstrated exceptional strength. Thus, including the admissions office director, all the teachers turned their attention to the top-ranked student. First place went to Jiangqing Second High School with 11,124 points, surpassing 10,000. Jiangnan Province has been making remarkable strides this year. At first, many teachers were astonished by my score. But after realizing the student was from Jiangqing Second High School, they seemed a bit puzzled. What is Jiangqing supposed to be? How is it that this city is so unheard of? Awakened at the age of 18. And it's a level 1 natural ability. Weak tier awakened individuals. The teachers, who were already somewhat confused, became even more baffled. What kind of first-level awakened ability is this? How could these two things possibly be associated with the top provincial scorer? Not even an ability user. Just an awakened individual, nothing more. Not to mention the ability itself. It's merely a second-to-last, first-level awakened ability. Who would believe this if it were told? So when this echoed in the ears of many teachers, their first reaction was disbelief. That an awakened individual could also become the top scorer in the province. Could this be a mistake? The 5-subject college entrance exam. Every student's results were professionally verified by the National Department of Education. No one questioned the authenticity of the scores. They only wondered if there was an error in the information collection. The information gathering capabilities of the Supernatural University in Shanghai. It shouldn't be making such a basic mistake like confusing people. EVA is the most advanced artificial intelligence. It wouldn't make such a simple error. It might have gone wrong during the initial registration into the database. That's where the issue might have started. A slightly overweight middle-aged man waved his hand. Just watch his 5 exam-related videos, and everything will be clear. EVA, pull up the exam videos. The footage had just begun. It was exactly when he stepped into the most central area, facing numerous high-ranking first-tier ferocious beasts, and the scene of second-tier ferocious beasts. Gazing at that upright figure carrying a long spear, a teacher's eyes lit up. Although my weapon caught the attention of the teachers, they did not forget their primary objective. The ability had not yet been used. It was impossible to determine, but the level was quite easy to identify. There is a fundamental difference between those with special abilities and those who have awakened. It lies in their aura. The aura on the other side. Although my aura in the scene appeared sharp and intense, it did not seem to affect the admissions teachers present, identifying the traits unique to individuals with special abilities. So it turns out this person is indeed an awakened one. After thorough verification and repeated confirmation, all the teachers present were astonished. What does it mean to be the top scorer among awakened individuals in the state? This is something that hasn't been seen in decades. Immediately, the battle in the holographic projection began. When my purple sky divine thunder erupted, as I eliminated numerous high-ranking Tier 1 fierce beasts, it left many teachers utterly astonished. Impossible, absolutely impossible. This is definitely not a Tier 1 ability. The power alone is at least at Tier 1. How could this be a low-level Tier 1 weak electric ability? What were those guys who registered the abilities even thinking? How could this even be messed up? The experienced admissions officers immediately noticed something unusual about the power of my ability. The admissions office director ahead narrowed their eyes and instructed EVA to analyze the level of my ability. Specialized instruments are required to measure abilities, to accurately determine their type and level. However, with advanced artificial intelligence, it can still provide analysis that's fairly accurate. My supernatural ability falls under the nature category, specifically the lightning type, due to the inability to gather elemental information from the air, based solely on the analysis of the video footage. The probability of Su Jingning's ability being grade B is 4%. The probability of it being grade A is 10%. The likelihood of it reaching grade S is 83%, and SS grade is also possible. There is a 0% chance of it being grade SSS. The AI system, EVA, quickly produced an analysis result, and the admissions office director who received the conclusion had his pupils suddenly contract sharply. The probability of reaching S-level is 83%. As an advanced artificial intelligence, Eva's judgments are almost never wrong. It's nearly confirmed. My superpower is categorized as S-level. Every teacher present suddenly started breathing more heavily. What does S-level signify? Once fully developed, it represents absolute top-tier combat power. In today's Grand Xia Kingdom, it has already been 3 or 4 years since no S-level ability awakeners have appeared. At this moment, Su Jingning in the holographic projection displayed an incredibly violent stance, ending the life of a second-tier bloodthirsty bear with a single shot. An S-level ability awakening this time, combined with such formidable combat skills, truly makes the student deserving of the provincial top scorer title. The admissions director up ahead let out a long sigh. After pondering for a moment, he spoke with a heavy gaze, declaring it an S+ level special admission quota. We must spare no effort to secure the S+ level special admission quota. It has been many years since we last used this type of special admission standard, an S+ level special admission. It seems we have no choice but to bring out something exceptional. Director Zhang, I handled the special admissions in Jiangnan province last year. How about I go this time again? Special admission quota for S-level. In addition, there is almost certainly one S-level spot. This instantly made me highly sought after by many. The teachers were all competing to take this trip to Jiangnan province for the special admission. But the admissions office director, Zhang Chaoyang, ahead, simply shook his head. None of you need to go. I'll personally take this trip myself this time. The director personally went. Well, this is truly over. Although some of the other teachers felt disappointed. As a 5th-tier psychic ability user, he had once recruited many students with limitless potential. Director Zhang Chaoyang of the Modu Ability University was indeed the most reliable choice for this mission. SC ability hopes you won't let me down. Gazing at the upright figure in the holographic projection, Director Zhang Chaoyang couldn't help but murmur softly, June 12th, the 5th day after the 5-subject college entrance exam. Don't rush. You'll get the results no later than today. Principal, I know, I'm not in a hurry. Alright, it's good that you're not anxious. I'm just worried that you young people are too impatient. I walked around the neighborhood talking for quite a while. It took so much effort to finally get a call from the principal. Wow, everyone keeps telling me not to worry. But in reality, they're more anxious than anyone else. I couldn't help but shake my head. After all, they in Zhangchang desperately needed a chance to prove themselves. But it's already the 5th day. The results should be announced by now. Just as I was silently wondering about it, a notification sound suddenly chimed. He took out his phone and unlocked the screen to check the message. The Jiangnan province's 5-subject college entrance exam rankings have been released. My eyes lit up. Without any hesitation, I clicked on the link. I immediately looked at the first line of the document, which showed Jiangnan province ranked first. Total score, 11,124. First place in Jiangnan province. At that moment, even someone as calm as I am couldn't help but show a hint of joy on my face. I punched the air with excitement. June 12th marked the nationwide V-Class college entrance exam, the final day for the release of the rankings. In other words, on this day, the rankings will definitely be announced. The director of the Education Bureau in Ning'an City, the capital of Jiangnan province, along with a group of teachers, were waiting in front of their computers, anticipating the release of the rankings. Even in this not-so-small office, plenty of cakes and champagne were already prepared, just waiting for the official announcement of the rankings. Let's kick off a joyous celebration. This year, Lei Zhou from Ning'an No. 1 High School performed exceptionally well. He scored over 9,200 points. He is very likely to be the provincial top scorer. The chances are pretty high, but it's not entirely certain. I heard there are a few talented students in the neighboring province too. That's true. It all depends on their own luck and effort. From Ning'an No. 1 High School, possessing AG-level first-tier advanced lightning curse abilities, is considered a top contender for provincial valedictorian. The results were announced. At that moment, the teacher who had been waiting in front of the computer had a sudden gleam in their eyes, and opened the ranking list, but was momentarily taken aback. The director of the Ning'an City Education Bureau, sensing something was off, frowned and leaned in closer. only to find that the first place name was completely unfamiliar. The director's eyes widened in shock. His face was filled with astonishment. However, compared to the shock of the education departments, the journalists in Jiangnan province sprang into action upon hearing the news. Jiangnan province is one of the most populous regions in the Grand Xiao nation. The province includes 24 prefecture-level cities and nearly 34 county-level cities. Ning'an City, as the provincial capital, and several nearby prefecture-level cities, are widely regarded as the most bustling areas, and also home to the largest concentration of superpowered individuals, the place most likely to produce geniuses. But Jiangchang, located in the remote northernmost part of Jiangnan province, is widely recognized as resource-poor, and has a notable lack of talent. Yet this year has been completely different. The top scorer in the province surprisingly came from an unremarkable, and even largely unknown Jiangcheng in Jiangnan province. So journalists have begun frantically gathering information related to me. And the more they dig, the more surprising things they uncover. The findings are quite unexpected. The discovery was truly shocking. A level 1 superpower. An awakened individual who has yet to advance. Every single phrase tugged at their nerves. While marveling at it, their eyes sparkled with excitement. This is undoubtedly a natural hot topic. They turned into multitasking machines. In just a matter of minutes, they crafted article after article, each with thousands of words. A definite dark horse in the field. The top student of the province hails from River City. Shockingly, the top student of the province is just an awakener. Who says a level 1 ability user can't become the top student of the province? These article headlines, each one is designed to grab attention. As soon as they were published online, they immediately attracted plenty of clicks from netizens. Especially netizens from Jiangnan province, who kept leaving comments under these articles, sharing their thoughts and opinions. Provincial top scorers are typically first-tier high-level ability users. Even awakened individuals can achieve the provincial top score. A first-level ability awakener can become the provincial top scorer. If this turns out to be true, I might as well eat dirt right here. Just wait and see. I'll go find videos of his 5 subject exams right now. Regarding these news stories, the most common comments are filled with skepticism. After all, previous top scorers in Jiangnan province, but they are all first-tier high-level ability users. The ability levels are at least A grade or B grade. Now, a level 1 awakened ability user suddenly appears. Naturally, no one believes in Xinzhuan Yuan. People are saying there's corruption in this year's martial arts college entrance exam, claiming that it's the inept son of some influential figure behind the scenes, who was forcibly pushed to the position of provincial top scorer. Cheating in the martial arts college entrance exam is an extremely serious offense. After comments like these emerged, public opinion gradually started to escalate. As the public opinion seemed to grow increasingly intense, the official account of Jiangcheng was surprisingly quick to release my video about the 5-subject college entrance exam. In response, some ill-intentioned individuals, who had been eagerly waiting to launch a harsh attack, were instantly left speechless. The top scorer from Jiangnan province truly showed no mercy. Whoa, a single strike pierced straight through the skull of a first-tier unispectral beast. Unbelievable. This power is even stronger than that of a first-tier superhuman. It seems like an enhancement-type ability that amplifies strength. But it's just someone who has awakened their powers. How could an ability boost be this strong? No way, it's not even an enhancement type. It's an electricity-based ability. And you're telling me this kind of power is just a level 1 ability? Unethical media spreads baseless rumors just for traffic. As soon as the video was released, the voices of doubt quickly disappeared. What replaced them was admiration for my exceptional marksmanship, the astonishment at the extraordinary power of lightning abilities. The passionate speech delivered by Education Bureau Director Zhang Wenshan. He presented a few statements with an official tone, then went on to express that I would be rewarded with a generous package including $1 million in cash and a talent development method. After the commendation from the Education Bureau, the city government promptly followed suit, stating that they would also award me $1 million in cash and gift a luxurious villa in the city. Rewarding the top provincial student has long been a well-established tradition in the province. Although compared to a provincial capital city like Ning'an, Jiangcheng is much poorer. They can still afford to spend a few million. I am completely unaware of the turmoil and buzz on the internet. Inside the training room, One could see the nearly broken obsidian spear transform into a shadowy blur under his rapid swings. The speed of his movements was so fast that sharp whistles occasionally pierced the air. The obsidian spear, weighing up to 50 kilograms, didn't seem to affect him in the slightest. Every movement was perfectly executed. The phone started ringing, interrupting my training session. I frowned slightly, put the spear away and picked up the phone. The caller ID showed it was Zhao Yang, the principal of Jiangqing Second High School. Why is he calling again? I really don't enjoy being interrupted, especially during training sessions. After answering the call, the principal informed me to head to the school, saying that recruiters from 3 top-tier universities had arrived. As a second-tier ability user, and also the principal in charge of a middle school. Zhao Yang is considered a prominent figure in the entire Jiangqing, but now his demeanor is extremely humble. His attitude is also very respectful, because he understands that these 3 influential figures hold great power over him. Under no circumstances should anyone provoke them. Even the aura they unknowingly exude, which belongs to a high-level superhuman, was enough to send chills down his spine. But it didn't take long before a whooshing sound was heard. As the sliding door of the meeting room opened, a tall figure carrying a long spear on their back walked in under the guidance of Principal Zhao Yao, representing the admissions officers from 3 universities. They are all 5th-tier psychic ability users. Even though they didn't exert any pressure, the invisible sense of oppression they emitted made Zhao Yao tremble uncontrollably nearby, while I remained completely unaffected. So, the moment we met, I immediately left a good impression on the admissions officers, leaving them with a positive view of me. With an introduction from Principal Zhao Yao, I quickly learned the identities of the 3 teachers. Then, Zhang Qiang, standing in the center, raised his right hand. It was as if he performed a magic trick. A sleek black device with a futuristic design appeared in his hand. You probably don't know yet what your abilities are after your mutation. Luckily, I brought an ability detection device from school. Why don't you come over and give it a try? Hearing that, I nodded in agreement and walked straight toward him. Taking a deep breath, he immediately summoned the divine thunder of Zixiao. Crackling sounds filled the air. In an instant, the purple lightning became both fierce and dazzling, swirling around him. Such ferocious lightning. The teachers were instantly astonished. They could sense the wild energy contained within the lightning. This immense power. Even those who were 5th-level ability users felt a slight sense of unease. A faint trace of apprehension could be noticed. At that moment, the ability detection device in front of me began to operate. Following that, under the expectant gaze of the 3 specially recruited teachers, and the principal's eager eyes, the ability detection was completed. The detected ability was identified as the Purple Sky Divine Thunder. It received an S-level rating. The principal's eyes lit up, widening in astonishment. The other 3 teachers, though they had expected this outcome for some time, still couldn't help but feel their breathing quicken when they saw I was an S-class ability user. Their reactions betrayed their surprise despite their prior expectations. Wu Yuan, the admissions officer from Jincheng University, was the first to speak. If you choose to enroll in Jincheng Ability University, we'll offer you a scholarship of $4 million, along with a set of C-class equipment. Additionally, throughout your 4 years at the university, any special training methods or performance enhancements you need for your abilities will be provided by our school completely free of charge. Zhao Yao, standing nearby, felt a sudden jolt in his heart. Do they really think money grows on trees? Additionally, this set of Class C equipment is worth millions. The ability training methods and various battle achievements are priceless treasures that money simply cannot buy. As expected, true geniuses shine with incomparable value. He felt a wave of emotion in his heart. Ha, is this all they've got to show? Su Yun from Qingjin University raised her elegant eyebrows and kept staring directly at me. If you choose to attend our Qingjin University of Supernatural Abilities, you will not only gain access to training methods for supernatural abilities and impressive achievements, but we will also provide you with a $6 million enrollment bonus, along with all the equipment you will need for your 4 years in university. Located in the capital city of Daxia, Qingjin University of Supernatural Abilities clearly showcases its immense financial resources, making a bold statement by offering such an extraordinary sum. Finally, Zhang Qiang, after a brief moment of contemplation, also laid out the offerings of his university. The training methods for supernatural abilities and past achievements speak for themselves. What their school has, our school has as well. However, our school doesn't offer scholarships or equipment. But at the start of every academic year, you are provided with S-level cultivation resources. S-level cultivation resources. What does that mean? I looked puzzled, while Su Yun and Wu Yuan exchanged a glance. They all noticed the shock in each other's eyes. What is referred to as S-class cultivation resources are treasures that cannot be measured in value, even for fifth-tier superhumans like them. S-class cultivation resources are still incredibly beneficial. And now, the Metropolis Superhuman University actually promises to provide them annually. A ferocious dragon beast. Did you know? In response to Zhang Chaoyang's inquiry, I nodded my head. The ferocious beast groups are divided by species. Some groups are weaker, some groups are stronger, and certain ones are naturally powerful. Similar to the dragon-like physique of certain ferocious beast groups, they are given the title of dragon-type creatures. They are born at the 4th or 5th tier, and as adults, they can reach the 7th or 8th tier. Within our S-class resources, there is a type of resource known as dragon blood. It is extracted from the heart blood of tier 8 dragon-like beasts. Consuming dragon blood significantly enhances physical strength. After taking it, one's physique becomes greatly improved. It can even rival that of dragon-like beasts. As for our S-class resources, each one is at the level of dragon blood. Now you get it, Zhang Xiaoyang said with a cheerful smile. In other words, my specially recruited rating is S+ level. Otherwise, he wouldn't have offered such extravagant terms. Dragon blood S-tier cultivation resources. Hearing this, I couldn't help but feel a surge of shock in my heart. S-tier cultivation resources are undeniably tempting. Alright, it's time for you to make your decision. The top 3 prestigious universities. Which one will you choose? After a brief moment of silence, I said I choose Moda University of Supernatural Abilities. Because supernatural ability points must be earned by defeating ferocious beasts. That's why. He tends to focus more on the practical training capabilities of top universities. After reviewing resources over this period of time, it was discovered that nearly half of the championships in the past 20 seasons of the University League were almost all won by the Magic City University of Supernatural Abilities, securing the championship title. Plus, with the S-level resources they invested, Magic City University of Supernatural Abilities could be considered the best option. In the face of S-level cultivation resources, the conditions proposed by the other two schools indeed appear significantly less appealing. Zhang Qiayang, with a cheerful smile, saw off the two teachers. Then he turned to look at Su Jing. Welcome to choosing our Magic City Ability University. Our university will absolutely live up to your expectations. After saying this, he immediately took out the admission letter he had prepared in advance and handed it over. Here is your admission letter. You'll need it when you report to the school. Additionally, here is a special recruitment agreement. Go ahead and sign it. The main content is essentially this. I have access to the library of the Extraordinary Abilities University in Shanghai. Every method for strengthening abilities and records of achievements. Additionally, I'll receive an S-level cultivation resource every year. After confirming the details are correct, I signed my name. Great, from now on, you are officially part of Shanghai's Extraordinary Abilities University. The Superpower University in Shanghai eagerly awaits your arrival. Zhang Qiaoyang let out a sigh of relief after securing the contract. With a casual flip through, the contract vanished into thin air once again. This scene, someone nearby, already quite curious, couldn't help but have their eyes light up. They asked Mr. Zhang, "Where did your contract go?" Zhang Qiaoyang smiled and raised his right hand. On his index finger was a delicate ring. Suddenly, the ring gave off a flash of light. The contract unexpectedly appeared in his hand out of thin air. This is a spatial ring. It was crafted using the abilities of spatial-type superhumans. It can store small items inside. Zhang Qiaoyang explained with a smile. A spatial ring. I was completely astonished. Isn't this something straight out of the fantasy novels from my previous life? Yet it has been brought to life in this world. But on second thought, he felt at ease again. Even spatial abilities exist. So creating a space ring seems quite reasonable. When the opportunity comes later, there's nothing I can do for now. Items like space rings are indeed incredibly tempting. Space rings certainly don't come cheap. If you want to buy one, you'll need to work hard for it. It seemed like he had figured out what I was thinking. Zhang Chaoyang offered a word of encouragement. After pausing for a moment, he moved on to something else. The freshman orientation at our school. The date is set for September 1st. You also have the option to report for orientation early. That's completely fine. We will provide accommodation for you. Of course, for special admissions like you, we always encourage early orientation attendance. Once you enroll, you'll gain access to the library's guides on ability training in battle armor. My eyes lit up, and I quickly asked, "Of course, that's not a problem." Zhang Chaoyang nodded. "This is amazing. I thought I'd have to wait until the semester began to take advantage of the vast cultivation resources offered by the Magic City Ability University. But now I can start early just by enrolling ahead of time." How could he not be excited? "Professor Zhang, I will report to school as soon as possible." "Alright, here is my contact information. Once you arrive at the school, just give me a call directly. Just get in touch with me if needed." After Zhang Chaoyang left his contact information, he didn't stay for long. He got up and left. Thus, the large VIP reception room. It was just me and Principal Zhao Yao left. Finally, everyone was gone. These high-level ability users. The sense of pressure they bring is extraordinarily intense. Zhao let out a sigh of relief. He wiped the fine sweat off his forehead. Then, as if looking at a treasure, he gazed at the delicate admission notice in his hand. The admission letter to the Magic City University of Abilities. This is truly an incredible honor. After leaving school, I went to the downtown area and bought quite a few gifts. After that, I took a cab to the happiness community where my aunt's family lives. Unlike my simple neighborhood, Jinghu community is an upscale villa area. The security at the entrance is also very strict. Without the owner's approval, it's nearly impossible for outsiders to get in. Fortunately, I had already registered visitor access here earlier. This was how I effortlessly made my way into the neighborhood. I stood at the entrance of the villa. I pressed the doorbell on the main gate. Not long after, the gate opened. It was then that my aunt Su Qingwan appeared. When she saw it was me, Su Qingwan's eyes lit up with excitement. She greeted me, saying, "Xiaoming, what brings you here?" She quickly invited me in, saying, "Come on in." She added, "The provincial rankings were just announced." She smiled and said, "I thought you, being the top scorer in the province, would be incredibly busy these days. I didn't expect you to come over at this time. Old Tang, Xiaoming has arrived. Hurry and make some tea." My aunt Su Qingwan warmly led me to the villa's living room. "Oh, Xiaoming is here." A tall and strong man walked out of the study. I politely greeted him as uncle. This man was his uncle, Tang Daolin. "Have a seat for now. I'll go make you some tea." Uncle Tang Daolin nodded with a smile. Then he called upstairs, "Kiki, your cousin is here." Footsteps echoed in the background. Tang Chi descended the stairs with her long strides. "Sister Chi," I greeted her with a smile and said, "Looking good. You really earned the provincial award. I didn't get the chance to call earlier. But now it's not too late to say congratulations, right?" Tang Chi responded with a radiant smile. "Of course, there's still time to come over to Su Qingwan's side." I smiled and said, "Oh, by the way, these are the gifts I brought for you all. Here's a face mask for Auntie, some skincare products for Sister Chi, and tea leaves for Uncle." I took out the gifts one by one. Su Qingwan, my aunt, didn't stand on ceremony. She was about to accept them, but then noticed that all the gifts were from rather luxurious brands. Altogether, it's at least $10,000 or $20,000. I couldn't help but widen my eyes. Why spend so much money on such an expensive gift? You're going to need a lot more money when you go to college. Make sure to return all of it later. Wait until you start earning money before buying us anything. Auntie, this money is what I earned myself. I grinned from ear to ear. The city is rewarding me for being the top scorer in the state. They're planning to give me $2 million. In addition, there's a special ability training course and a luxurious villa. These gifts worth thousands of dollars are not really a burden for me. They don't count as anything too difficult for me to afford. Of course, even without the city's rewards. Considering the help my aunt's family has given me over the years, it's only right to buy them some valuable gifts. Lei Qing, just accept it then. I also saw it online. The announcement of the city's rewards. Moreover, it's not just the city. Many local companies in Jiangcheng have publicly stated that they want to provide you with equipment and resources. Uncle-in-law smiled and brought over a steaming cup of tea. So that's how it is. Su Qingwan nodded in agreement, and didn't decline further. The city rewards can be accepted, but the items those companies want to give. I nodded to show my understanding, indicating that I got it. The city government has an official background. Receiving the rewards issued by the state is completely legitimate, but private companies might not have the same certainty. Taking the gifts they offered could potentially cause some trouble in the future. By the way, your uncle just mentioned that he also gave you an additional villa. Where is this villa located? Aunt Su Qingwan asked curiously. The city said I could choose whichever I liked. As long as it's within Jiangcheng, it's fine. But I still haven't decided which one to choose. I responded, saying you should. Just go ahead and choose our Jinhu community. It'll make it easier to visit each other in the future. Su Qingwan quickly suggested. Sounds great. I readily agreed. For someone like him, who has lost both parents and is all alone, a house is merely a place to sleep at night. Any place will do. Since Aunt wants to live here, then we'll settle here. Uncle Tang Daolin, who was standing nearby, heard this. He couldn't help but feel a bit emotional. This house was something he worked hard for most of his life to earn. And now, not only does it require no money, others are even eager to offer it. The younger generation is truly impressive. It just so happens I've been having some trouble with my training. When you move in, I can also seek your advice. Tang Shi said with a cheerful smile. Although he and I use different weapons, with me using a dagger, and him using a spear, his combat experience is clearly superior to mine. And he can provide some guidance in training. I nodded, paused for a moment and hesitated before speaking. But I might not be able to guide you for much longer. Once everything here is settled, I'll be leaving. Leaving? Where to? Su Qingwan was startled. To report for admission in Shanghai. I took out my admission letter. Just a moment ago. I was officially admitted to Shanghai University of Performing Arts. I've already been accepted. But isn't it true that no one has started filling out college applications yet? Su Qingwan was briefly taken aback. Submitting college applications happens after the results of the 5-subject college entrance exam are released, and it only starts on the 3rd day after that. Xiao Ming is the top scorer in the province. He's taking the special admissions route, so there's no need for him to wait to fill out applications. Uncle Tang Daolin shook his head and explained. It's surprising how quickly special admissions requires students to report for enrollment. Su Qingwan felt a bit disappointed. He originally planned to take advantage of this break to take me out and have some fun. But he also understands that the superpower university in Shanghai is the top school in the country, and my decision to enroll early must have been made with my own considerations in mind. After all, kids eventually grow up. Additionally, he invited his old high school buddy Zhang Hao, as well as Lu Jie for a meal. At the dining table, my two best friends were incredibly envious of my rise to success. When they found out I was struck by lightning, and that my abilities mutated from level 1 to S level, they couldn't stop exclaiming about my absurd luck, and angrily ordered a few more giant lobsters. Of course, their own achievements were pretty decent too. Lu Jie scored 245 on the martial arts college entrance exam, which guarantees his spot at a top ability university. Zhang Hao, who took the general education entrance exam, also managed to meet the cutoff for first-tier universities, but being accepted into the Shanghai Supernatural University like me. Naturally, there's no comparison. In the end, both Zhang Hao and Lu Jie got completely drunk. You managed to get into the Shanghai Supernatural University. So, make sure to get me an autograph from Goddess Jiang. Before getting into the taxi, Zhang Hao was still mumbling in a daze. Goddess Jiang's real name is Jiang Chuxian. She is a supernatural being from the Shanghai Supernatural University. Over the past 6 months, a video of slaying a ferocious beast went viral on the internet. In the footage, her stunning beauty contrasts sharply with her swift and decisive fighting style, which earned her the nickname Goddess Jiang. And Zhang Hao happens to be one of her biggest fans. Naturally, I agreed without hesitation. After much effort, I managed to calm him down and get him into a taxi. With that, everything in Jiangcheng has been taken care of. The next day, which was June 16th, under the watchful eyes of my aunt's family, I carried my suitcase and boarded the high-speed train heading to Shanghai. This trip for Xiaoming might just be his big break. Uncle Tang Daolin watched with a wistful expression as the high-speed train gradually departed. Before this moment, who would have thought I could become the top scorer in the province and be accepted into Shanghai's University for supernatural abilities? Oh, by the way, Chi will be starting her college application soon. Since your cousin is attending the Supernatural University in Shanghai, you should also consider choosing a university in Shanghai. This way, you can look out for each other in the future. Your dad is right. Shanghai has good development opportunities. The economy there is thriving. And it's not too far from Jiangnan. It's definitely a solid choice. I understand, Mom and Dad. Before I boarded the high-speed train, first, I gave Zhang Qiaoyang a call. The intention was simply to let him know I'd be busy today. To my surprise, Zhang Qiaoyang was unusually enthusiastic. He said he'd drive and wait for me in advance at the high-speed rail station in Shanghai. I couldn't turn him down, so I had no choice but to let him do as he pleased. After getting in the car, Su Jingming placed his luggage properly, found his assigned seat, and then closed his eyes, leaning slightly against the window. At the same time, recalling the content about the method for training supernatural abilities. It is a book called The Abyssal Training Method, a method for training supernatural abilities. Just like supernatural abilities themselves, the methods for training supernatural abilities are also categorized by different levels. The higher the level, the faster the cultivation process. And this abyssal training method is considered an ultimate method for training supernatural abilities. The original method for training supernatural abilities was controlled by the Jiangcheng government. What I received was just a duplicate copy. However, the content is identical. So, there's no difference when it comes to practicing it. With my impressive mental strength of 180 grams, it only took me a little over 2 days to memorize all the content. According to the method described for training supernatural abilities, there is a unique energy that drifts throughout the world. And only by absorbing this energy, only then can the power of special abilities be enhanced. On the very first day of obtaining the ability training method, I followed the instructions outlined in the training method. I was able to sense this unique energy. At the same time, a plus sign also appeared next to the level on the system panel. However, he didn't immediately choose to use ability points for an upgrade, because, according to the records in the Abyss C training method, it describes the transformation from an awakener to an ability wielder, using higher-level superpower training methods to break through. The greater the benefits after the breakthrough. And once you get into the Magic City Superpower University, you will have access to top-tier superpower training methods. Naturally, no one would choose to use the ultimate superpower training method to break through. Report for enrollment. The first thing to do after starting school is to head to the library to research superpower training. The journey was incredibly dull, and there was no way to train during that time. What started as him simply closing his eyes for a quick rest. With his head leaning against the window, he felt a wave of drowsiness wash over him. He decided to just lay his head on the desk and drifted off to sleep. The high-speed train from Jiangcheng to Shanghai stops at several stations along the way. One of these stops is Ning'an City, the provincial capital of Jiangnan. A few seats around me were initially empty, but after arriving at Ning'an City, they were all taken. It seemed like a group of young people had boarded. One of the young men sat down after finding a seat, kept talking without stopping, succeeded in no time, instantly erased the drowsiness that was already clouding my mind. Had no choice but to stop resting my head on the table. Opened my eyes. The spot he was at was a 4-person table with one in the center. At this moment, the seat across from him, which had been empty, now had 2 young people, a man and a woman, sitting right next to him. There was also a girl wearing glasses sitting there. She had been talking non-stop since getting on the bus. It was the boy sitting directly across from me. Huangpu Yinan University. It's considered a pretty good school in Shanghai. Last year's minimum admission score was 406. This time, my score was 421. The score wasn't much higher, but it's basically enough to secure admission. Plus, my brother also attends Huangpu Yinan University. When we get to Shanghai later, I can take you around to explore the area. Huangpu Yinan University is usually not open to outsiders, but since my brother is here, you could say you're really lucky this time. The guys were dressed sharply, and they talked a lot, mostly bragging about their high exam scores and their connections at Huangpu Yinan University. The girl with glasses next to me was still listening with a polite smile. On the other side, the boy sitting next to him was accompanied by a girl who seemed more reserved, but she appeared to be slightly impatient, barely joining the conversation at all. In truth, Lu Qian's patience with Zhang Chang was already nearing its breaking point. After finishing the 5 college entrance exam subjects, she and her best friend planned to apply to universities in Shanghai, so they bought high-speed rail tickets for today, intending to visit the campuses in person. Unexpectedly, after getting on the bus, he ran into Zhang Chang sitting next to him. After learning about each other's destinations, he began bragging non-stop. At first, he was quite patient, and even smiled and agreed along with him. But as time went on, the same 2 topics were brought up repeatedly, more than a dozen times, which indeed made him feel a bit annoyed. However, out of politeness, he found it hard to directly tell the other person to stop talking. "This is unbelievable." Even woke up the person sleeping quietly across the way. Lu Qian was about to apologize, but after seeing the other person's face, her eyes suddenly lit up. What a handsome guy! The boy across had strikingly sharp features, a high-bridged nose, and eyes that were clear and full of life. His looks could easily rival those of TV stars. It was equally impressive, even though he isn't someone who gets easily infatuated. Seeing such a handsome young man, still managed to leave a favorable impression, especially when standing nearby, was an endlessly chattering annoyance for contrast. "Sorry about that. For disturbing you," Lu Qian said with a hint of apology in her tone. Su Jingming waved his hand dismissively. "Shows no concern. Hello, I am Sun Rui. Are you heading to Shanghai as well?" Compared to Lu Qian's quiet demeanor, the girl with glasses sitting next to Su Jingming is noticeably more outgoing. Seeing that Su Jingming was about the same age as her, she took the initiative to greet him. Su Jingming was also heading to Shanghai. In response to Sun Rui's question, Su Jingming gave a polite nod. "We're all heading to Shanghai. It seems like we have quite the coincidence." Lu Qian smiled gracefully. She responded in a friendly tone. "I'm Lu Qian. I'm planning to visit Shanghai to check out the university for people with special abilities. I'm just going there for sightseeing. I'll also stop by Huangpu Ability University to visit my brother." The guy next to Lu Qian leaned in to join the conversation. "My name is Zhang Chang. Hey, are you also heading to Shanghai to visit schools?" Su Jingming was about to say he was going to enroll as a student, but this guy just kept talking to himself. "You look about the same age as us, so that must be the case, right? Hold on a second. I'll take you all to check out Huangpu Yinan University." Zhang Chang chuckled softly. His tone carried a subtle hint of pride. "I'm not exaggerating. With so many universities in Shanghai, Huangpu Supernatural University is definitely among the top ones. Once the college application process is over, I'm going to apply to Huangpu Supernatural University too." Su Jingming heard this, and couldn't help feeling a bit speechless. As an international metropolis, Shanghai, besides the top-tier Shanghai Supernatural University, there are indeed several other good supernatural universities as well. Among these universities, the admission score is just slightly over 400. Huangpu University of Supernatural Abilities can hardly be considered very good. Of course, for ordinary students, it is indeed considered a prestigious school. For people he isn't familiar with, Su Jingming has little desire to talk. Lu Qian is also a relatively quiet girl. Sun Rui has a slightly more outgoing personality, but instead of talking, he seemed to prefer listening. So during the conversation that followed, Zhang Chang naturally took the lead, eagerly boasting about his college entrance exam scores and his connections at Huangpu University, trying to catch Lu Qian's attention, but his approach was far too clumsy. Even Su Jingming couldn't help but secretly shake his head, let alone Lu Qian. It was as if disgust was practically written across her forehead. However, compared to when she first got on the train, Lu Qian's tolerance had improved significantly. After all, having a handsome guy around made things a bit more pleasant. And so, for the remainder of the journey, Lu Qian's gaze rarely strayed from Su Jingming. Time flew by quickly. By noon, at exactly 12 o'clock, the train finally arrived at the Shanghai high-speed rail station. Su Jingming and his group followed the crowd as they exited. On the way, Zhang Chang tried to get Lu Qian's contact information. However, he was met with complete rejection. Before long, the group walked out of the high-speed rail station. Outside the station, there were rows of taxis and private cars waiting to pick up passengers. Zheng Chang noticed one of the sedans. His eyes lit up with excitement. He quickly approached Lu Qian, eager to impress her. "My brother's car is here. Why don't you all come with me? Why not take the opportunity to visit Huangpu Yinan University?" After speaking, he pretended to look apologetically at Su Jingming. "But my brother's car doesn't have enough seats. If you want to come along, you'll have to take a cab on your own. But don't worry, we'll wait for you at the school gate. Most sedans typically have 5 seats. Including my cousin as the driver, that's just 4 people. So there should be enough room." He said that on purpose, just to push Su Jingming out of the picture. After all, he's not blind. During that brief moment in the car earlier, the attractive Lu Qian was almost entirely focused on Su Jingming. Anyone could tell Lu Qian had feelings for Su Jingming, but if he could manage to push him aside, then there might still be a chance for himself. Yet this maneuver of his, not only did they fail to achieve the desired outcome, but instead were met with Su Jingming's gaze, as if he were looking at a fool. "When did I ever say I was going along?" Lu Qian also realized. Her eyebrows arched sharply, and said with slight anger, "Zheng Chang, your car only has 4 seats. Aren't you doing this on purpose?" "I absolutely didn't mean it that way. I just wanted there to be more people. Sitting might feel a little cramped. Since you put it that way, then let's just go together. My brother's car has enough space." Seeing Lu Qian get upset, Zheng Chang was momentarily stunned. He immediately changed his tone. He wanted to push Su Jingming out, but there was no point if Lu Qian left too. "Do you think? Everyone is eager to visit Huangpu Yinan University." Lu Qian widened her eyes, then turned her head to look at Su Jingming. "Jingming, if you don't mind, you can share a cab with us. Before we came here, we had already planned several universities that we need to visit and explore. We can move forward together. Huangpu Energy University. It's actually quite a decent school, and it typically doesn't allow access to outsiders. If it were any other time, he would really want to take a tour, but he's truly had enough of Zheng Chang's endless shamelessness. Showing off while intentionally putting others down is something he absolutely cannot tolerate." Sun Rui, standing nearby, also noticed. It seems like Zheng Chang is deliberately targeting Su Jingming, even though he really wanted to visit Huangpu Yinan University. At a time like this, he still firmly stood by Lu Qian's side. He smiled at Su Jingming and extended an invitation. "Why don't you join us? Having one more person will make things livelier." Hearing this, Zheng Chang, who originally had a fairly handsome face, suddenly turned as red as a liver. However, Su Jingming didn't even glance at him. He spoke to Lu Qian in Sun Rui. "I need to head to the university district in Magic City. There's a car coming to pick me up over there. I'll ask if they can give you 2 a ride as well. If it works, we can take you all to the university town in Shanghai." Lu Qian heard this, and was slightly taken aback. The university town in Shanghai is a famous attraction in the city. The area is home to one of the nation's top 3 universities. The National Capital University of Arts and Sciences is located here. Several nearby universities are also ranked among the best in the country. These institutions consistently achieve top national rankings. Their admission scores are exceptionally high. Naturally, being prestigious schools, they attract significant attention. Anyone wishing to visit must schedule an appointment in advance. However, due to overwhelming popularity, availability is limited. The queue for tour reservations has already stretched out for months. Visitors are now booking their spots several months ahead of time. They didn't manage to secure a spot at all. Even if they go, it would just be a wasted trip. There's no way to get into the school. However, a famous landmark like the university town in Shanghai, it's still worth taking a look from outside the campus. After thinking it over, Lu Qian still nodded and agreed. "Let's head over together to ask about it. If it doesn't work out, we'll just take a taxi ourselves." As Su Jingming exited the subway station, he immediately spotted Zhang Chaoyang's car, so he led Lu Qian and Sun Rui along with him, and they headed in that direction together. "Someone who couldn't even secure a spot at Huangpu First University. I seriously doubt you could possibly get into any school in the university city of Shanghai." Watching the 3 of them leave together, Zheng Chang couldn't help but sound a little sarcastic. But right after that, after identifying the direction Su Jingming was heading, His eyes widened in surprise. It was there he saw the direction Su Jingming was walking toward. A Mercedes-Benz X100 off-road vehicle was parked there. The Mercedes-Benz X100 is a military-grade off-road vehicle. It can accelerate to 100 miles per hour in just 1.8 seconds. Designed to handle all kinds of challenging terrains. It is a favorite among wilderness adventurers, and stands out as one of the most preferred off-road vehicle models, with an official price tag of over 10 million yuan. In the economically developed metropolis of Shanghai, even cars worth millions of dollars don't stand out much. What truly grabs attention is the car's hood, and the massive emblem painted on the doors. At the center of the emblem is a sharp sword, surrounded by roses intertwined with thorns. The overall design appears both imposing and elegant. Nearly every resident of Shanghai recognizes this emblem. It is the crest of Shanghai's University of Supernatural Abilities. Although Zhang Chang isn't a native of Shanghai, as a college entrance exam candidate, he naturally recognizes the emblem of Shanghai's Supernatural University. In fact, as soon as he stepped out of the high-speed rail station, he immediately noticed this vehicle. But he assumed it was there to pick up some distinguished guest of Shanghai's Supernatural University, so he didn't pay much attention to it. He never expected that the car was actually waiting for Su Jingming. Impossible, absolutely impossible. He must be targeting the other vehicles. Zhang Chang kept his eyes firmly fixed on Su Jingming. I hope I'm wrong about this. But the other party was actually with Lu Qian and Sun Rui. They effortlessly got into the car and drove off without a second glance. This car really seems to have been waiting specifically for Su Jingming. In the distance, Zhang Chang stiffened. The exclusive vehicle of the Modu Ability University is not easily dispatched. It's generally reserved for hosting important individuals. In other words, dressed in simple attire, Su Jingming turned out to be a guest of honor at the Supernatural Abilities University in Shanghai. Unbelievable, even the VIPs are this low profile. Overwhelmed with surprise, Zhang Chang also felt a sense of relief. Thank goodness he hadn't been too arrogant earlier. Meanwhile, after receiving approval from Zhang Chaoyang, the admissions office director, Su Jingming took the two individuals and got into the car. As for Lu Qian and Sun Rui, they naturally recognized each other. The emblem of the Metropolitan University of Supernatural Abilities. It was unexpected. What awaited Su Jingming was this kind of car. By the time they realized it, the two of them had already been taken into the vehicle. These are all your friends? From the driver's seat, Zhang Chaoyang asked with a smile. Met on the high-speed train. They're considering applying to universities here in the city. This time, we came for an on-site visit and inspection. I think there are quite a few schools around the university district in the city, so I decided to take them there along the way. Su Jingming, who was sitting in the front passenger seat, briefly explained a few points. There are indeed several good schools in the university district. However, if you want to visit, you need to make a reservation in advance. Have you all made your reservations yet? When Zhang Chaoyang mentioned the people in the back seat, after getting in the car, overwhelmed by the powerful aura of Zhang Chaoyang, a high-level esper, Lu Qian and Sun Rui, as quiet as quails, hurriedly shook their heads. Visiting the school requires making an appointment in advance. Su Jingming furrowed his brow. This was something he hadn't anticipated. It's my oversight. When we get there later, I'll call a cab to take you to your originally planned destination. Su Jingming apologized sincerely. In the back seat, Lu Qian and Sun Rui quickly waved their hands. It's fine, it's fine. What we originally planned was just to take a stroll outside the school. Just walking around isn't enough. Here are 2 passes for visiting all the schools in the university town of Shanghai. You can take them with you. Taking advantage of the red light pause, Zhang Chaoyang handed over 2 passes from the front seat. Admission pass. Lu Qian and Sun Rui's eyes lit up at the same time. They were well aware that the university town in Shanghai had admission passes available, but the admission passes on the official website were impossible to get. Scalpers did have tickets available. However, each ticket was priced at 20 to 30,000 yuan. As students, they simply couldn't afford such a price. It was far too expensive. We just can't accept something so valuable, even though we really wanted it. However, Lu Qian and Sun Rui managed to resist the temptation. They shook their heads and declined. It's just 2 tickets. What's so valuable about them? I still have a pile of these here. Zhang Chaoyang smiled. He opened the storage box in the car without hesitation. Inside the box was a neatly arranged stack of these universal tickets. There must be at least 100 of them. These were all gifts from others. I have it, but it's completely useless. Since you're all friends of Mr. Su, giving you 2 tickets isn't a big deal. As the director of admissions, Zhang Chaoyan receives quite a few of these general admission tickets every year. Students of the Magic City Ability University are already allowed to come and go freely. The schools across the university town naturally don't need them. These general tickets are basically useless. Keeping them around is as good as holding onto scrap paper. In reality, this is just a small portion of what's in the car. There are easily hundreds more in the drawers of his office. Since the other party has already said so, Lu Qian and Sun Rui understood. If they didn't accept these 2 tickets, it would come across as overly pretentious. So after sincerely expressing their thanks, they accepted the 2 passes. As the director of admissions at the Metropolis Superpower University, Zhang Chaoyan was well-versed in matters related to college applications. They are still quite experienced. Along the way, they shared insights with Lu Qian and Sun Rui, offering plenty of advice on filling out college applications. For instance, which school in the big city might increase enrollment this year, or which school's admission scores might drop. Information like this is usually out of reach for most people. So, feeling both excited and grateful, Lu Qian and Sun Rui were incredibly fortunate to have encountered Su Jing on their journey. Otherwise, it would have been impossible to come into contact with such classified information. The off-road vehicle sped along the road. It quickly drove into the university town of Magic City. Eventually, it stopped in front of the entrance to the Magic City University of Supernatural Abilities. I'll go park the car first. Wait here for me for a moment. They let Su Jingming and the other 2 get out of the car. Zhang Chaoyan went to park the car on his own. Su Jingming took the opportunity to observe this top-tier university in the country standing before him. Back when he was still in Zhangcheng, he had already looked up information about the Magic City University of Supernatural Abilities online, and learned that the university was built with an impressive and grand design. But when this university finally appeared right before his eyes, it was then that he truly felt astonished. Just the school gate he saw alone was easily over 100 meters wide. The flat cement road below could almost accommodate dozens of cars passing through at the same time. The height is roughly over 10 meters. The massive school gate stands tall. The words Moto Supernatural University are written in bold, artistic strokes. These 6 characters shine brilliantly. They gleam under the noonday sunlight. Wow, even the school gate is built so grandly. What must the inside of the campus be like? Su Jingming finally understood why so many students aspire to attend top-tier universities. It's not just for their profound academic foundations. Passing through such a grand entrance every day is truly a feast for the eyes. At the same time, he couldn't help but feel excited about his next 4 years on campus. Su Jingming couldn't help but look forward to the journey ahead. Meanwhile, Lu Qian and Sun Rui were equally awestruck by the magnificence of the Magic City Ability University, fixing their gaze on the school gate without even blinking. So, what do you think? Impressive, right? At this moment, Zheng Chaoyang, who had just parked his car, appeared nearby with a cheerful smile. He enjoyed nothing more than seeing new students in awe of the school. This was also one of the reasons why he personally came to pick up Su Jingming. Our Magic City University of Supernatural Abilities spans 40,000 mu of land, covering a total area of 26 square kilometers. A grand entrance like this is perfectly fitting. Zhang Chaoyan followed up with this statement. It truly left Lu Qian's mouth agape. Her eyes were wide open in astonishment. 26 square kilometers. I recall that your Magic City University for Supernatural Abilities only admits 1,000 new students each year. When all 4 grades are combined, there are just over 4,000 students in total. Yet so few people occupy such a massive area. Lu Qian knew Magic City University for Supernatural Abilities was huge, but she never expected it to cover a staggering 26 square kilometers. This is roughly half the size of a county town, and such a large area is home to just over 4,000 people. Keep in mind, this is in a place where every inch of land is precious, in the bustling city of Shanghai. A single school having this much space is nothing short of surreal. There aren't that few people. When you include all the teachers and staff, the total comes to almost 10,000 people. with an average land area of about 2,600 square meters per person. Zhang Chaoyang immediately followed up with one, which made Lu Qian and Sun Rui's eyes turn red with envy. With a per capita land area of over 2,600 square meters. What an absolutely terrifying figure that is. Ordinary universities would be lucky to have even 1% of that per capita land area. And so, amidst all these overwhelming emotions, Lu Qian and Sun Rui were led into the Shanghai Supernatural Abilities University. And by the time they came back to their senses, Su Jingming is already waving goodbye. I have already informed Teacher Zhang. You are free to look around the school. However, once you leave, you won't be able to re-enter. Well then, let the two of us part ways here. I hope you all get accepted into the universities of your choice. For Lu Qian, someone like Su Jingming, with his height and appearance, completely aligns with her aesthetic preferences. It's impossible for her not to feel some attraction, longing for the other person. The figure that left together with Zhang Chaoyang. He summoned all his courage. Yet he still couldn't stop the other person to ask for the contact information he wanted. They ultimately belonged to different worlds. Lu Qian shook her head. He was simply from an ordinary family. For someone like Su Jingming, who could attract the personal attention of the Magic City Ability University, and even have them come to receive him in person, it's just like being a passing stranger. Having a brief encounter is already considered fortunate. Hoping to develop a deeper relationship is nothing more than wishful thinking. Xiao Chen, I know who Su Jingming is. Sun Rui suddenly exclaimed from the side. He handed the phone over to Lu Qian. I told you he looked somewhat familiar. Turns out he is the top scorer of Jiangnan province. So it was him. Looking at Sun Rui, one news article after another about Su Jingming on the phone, along with attached photos. Lu Qian finally connected Su Jingming to the top scorer of Jiangnan province, who had caused quite a stir in the province recently. It turned out he ultimately chose Magic City Ability University. No wonder a teacher personally came to pick him up. Although there was a lot of buzz online, seeing him in person offline might make it harder to recognize him immediately. This is the instinctive reaction most people have. Lu Qian was no exception. And online, there has been no definitive news about which university Su Jingming would ultimately choose. There was never any clear information. No one expected that he had already chosen the Magic City University of Performing Arts, and had even started the enrollment process. It turns out we truly belong to different worlds. After learning his true identity, Lu Qian unexpectedly felt more at ease. She smiled and pulled her best friend Sun Rui along, saying, let's go. It's not every day you get to come here. We should take our time and explore thoroughly. With the admissions office director guiding them, Su Jingming encountered no obstacles during his enrollment process. It took just a little over half an hour to complete all the procedures and receive both his student ID and dormitory key. Initially, Su Jingming was at the school gate. He was immediately blown away by the entrance of the Supernatural University in the Magic City. But when he saw his dormitory, he was stunned once again. In his previous life, having earned a PhD, he had already experienced quite a few. He even transferred between 3 universities and stayed in 3 to 4 different dormitories, from shared rooms for 4 people to private single rooms, and even dorms specifically designated for PhD students. 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. But a university for superhuman abilities in a city like Shanghai, using villas as dormitories. That's something he had truly never seen before. The villa standing right in front of him. It seems it's even far more luxurious than the one he had in Zhangcheng. At this point, Su Jingming finally realized the land area of the Supernatural University in Shanghai. Why it is so vast. These are all villas provided for the students. They might end up taking up nearly half of the area. Every student at our school lives in a villa. Of course, the luxury level varies based on scores. The more luxurious villas are for those with higher scores. For someone like you,